Hello and welcome back, everyone. We're here with another podcast episode here with Tarkus, who is a fellow Vic3 player, and we are primarily going to be talking about the economics in EU5, relating it to Vic3 a bit, and doing that as our main topic slash thrust. I'll let him introduce himself slash plug anything he feels like plugging.
Hello, gamers. It's me, Tarkus. Okay, I do Vic3, I do CK3. I mean, I was gonna say you know me, but not everyone knows me. But I do like Victoria 3 like guides, but it's more like roleplay stories, and I try to just make like fun things out of the game. And I do CK3 like in-depth roleplay stuff. Been playing EU5 for I think I'm at 80 hours now, and I recently did my first impressions at 69 hours of video. So that's my plug. There's my there's my plug. A big video about that. Go complain on the forums about it.
Yep.
That kind of thing.
High forum people.
Anyway, it's a pleasure to be here, by the way. Thank you, Generalist. I love your content.
Thank you.
No
Thanks
homo.
very much.
Maybe homo.
So let's jump in with like kind of the biggest similarity between Vic3 and EU5, which is both are driven, like the entire economy is driven by prices. So if goods become cheap, you don't make any money, and if goods are expensive, you make a ton of money. And that's like the broadest oversimplification, and then everything kind of flows from that. What do you think about, like, so my impression, like, in this is that RGOs are just generally insane relative to, like, thinking through them with Vic3, like, raw material resources in terms of power level.
Well, it's funny you say that, because in Vic3, raw materials are also really good, like iron mines, coal mines, that kind of thing. Yeah, but it feels like, so in the early game, to me anyway, like, again, only 80 hours of gaming compared to your, like, 1,000 or whatever, but... Yeah. I find that in the early game, a lot of income kind of comes from trade because you don't have as much like ability to project control across all of your states or provinces, whatever. But in the early game, like trade's really important. So if you have good RGOs that have good goods that you can then export to make trade income, I find that's really strong. Mm-hmm. But then later in the game, it's more about like buildings. I find like taxing the burghers and making buildings kind of matters a lot, and that of course also depends on the RGOs. So I do agree that RGOs are very important. But I think they get less and less important the further the game goes, at least from my experience.
I think that's mostly true, but like specifically the part about control is that like your RGOs, when you have 10 control there, they only contribute like 10% to the tax base, but you could trade them at full value.
Exactly. That's what I mean about it's important in the early game because of trade. Yeah. And then later on, as you get more control, the buildings become more important because you actually have control.
Eventually, your margins get like squeezed down to zero, like as you produce more and more and more because consumption doesn't increase. And so re-injecting more RGOs is like necessary to like keep the entire beast like churning.
Yeah.
So like
you mentioned the consumption started increasing, and I wanted to. That's something interesting as a Victoria 3 player, because of course in Victoria 3, one of the tactics you could say, it's arguable how meta it is, but like spiraling SOL up in order to increase consumption, so you can keep prices up, is really interesting. Obviously, Victoria 3 is a very interesting game where keeping SOL down is kind of actually meta because of wages, and it's a very complicated system. But in EU5. Like the way I guess you increase consumption is just getting a bigger market, so there's more nobles to to give the goods to, or just changing your values to get more nobles or whatever. But I found it really jarring that when you like floor the price on a good, it'll basically stay floored, like because they're not going to increase their consumption to match it. They just get more satisfaction, which I guess is nice, but
it's a little bit
that
nice.
Was interesting.
Lemon did a video on like the nobles' consumption. They were consuming more than they were getting in terms of income, which is like an interesting sort of thing. But then like one of the biggest sources of consumption is not actually your pops, it's buildings, because you pay maintenance on the buildings, but you only pay 20%, and the other 80% is free, like in terms of it's added buy orders to market. So that's one way in which you could like push prices up. So like buildings are even better than they appear. Like the library, the cost of it, like we talked about this a little bit, the cost of like a library or something like this is way less than what it looks like because it pushes all the prices in your market up.
Yeah. So I was on my first sort of eco push like playthrough, I did Holland because I was thinking Netherlands, of course, economic push. And inadvertently, I was mostly just doing the strategy of if it's profitable, then build it, the classic.
Yeah.
And I kept on, as I got into the 1400s or so, I was starting to build up a military because I wanted to go invade England. That was like my big dream for the run. Building armories. And of course, armories are consuming weapons. And I didn't realize it but I kept on seeing weapons being in the top of profit, so I kept building them. And then I thought, oh, and my armories are like, pretty cheap, so I'm gonna keep building more armories. And I realized I was spiraling my own economy upwards from fake money,
Yeah.
where 20% I'm only paying 20% of the cost on the armories, but they're consuming 100% of what they're claiming to
Yep.
consume. And I'm making the money off the burgers. And I didn't go through and do the math. It's possible it wasn't actually more money than what it was worth, but I think maybe with how high my tax efficiency was and how high my tax rate on the
That's
burgers was, it's
yeah.
possible I was making money per armory. Like, very possible.
It depends on those. Yeah, it depends on those two figures in terms of like spinning it up. But
Yeah.
like also, like
Yeah.
I think if you look at the overall stimulus, like buildings end up being way more than the like pop consumption, especially as you get later
Yes.
and later in the game, because the pop consumption just stays stagnant.
Yeah.
And then like the other stuff goes up. In particular, oh wait, I forgot what I was about to make a point. I completely
Yeah.
blanked out on it.
Dementia gaming. You hate to see
Yeah,
it.
the like one of the ideas I had, which I don't think you could implement right now, because what it would do is it would just turbo spin up the economy really fast, because there's so much free money in the economy. But regarding consumption, is make sliders eat goods. So if sliders
Yes,
add
yeah.
buy orders for goods, then what happens is your economy won't just like stall out eventually, because I think that's what will happen like pretty much no matter what. And instead, as you get richer and richer and richer, your economy's demands like stimulate up quite a bit as well.
And in line with that, to me, there's like a gameplay loop that happens in EU5 where you like play tall until you can't play tall anymore, and then you start playing wide. And what I mean is like
Yeah.
you play tall because you want more income, and the income lets you do more stuff. And then eventually, like you're running out of either qualified pops, like maybe you're out of burgers in your big capital city, or maybe you're out of like laborers, like maybe you're a really low pop country, you don't even have laborers anymore, and you need more pops, and you have all this money. So you conquer more, and when you conquer more, you're going to increase your cost of court. And I find that because the cost of court doesn't generate any like goods demand, and because it's like it's limited in how far you can go with it, you end up just kind of eventually needing to expand more, which makes sense. I think that's reasonable to do. But it would be cool if you could like infinitely spiral up the cost of court, so you could keep your demand high and in theory like employ every single peasant. But I think EU5 is a game that wants to be about like imperialism, not like
Yeah.
state building is a better word, not necessarily imperialism, but
No,
making like
call it
a
it
new
is.
state.
Colonialism,
Yeah, okay, fair. Yeah,
brutalization
yeah.
of the indigenous
But what I
peoples.
mean is that you don't necessarily have to go colonizing. Like you can play as a country that only stays in Europe, but you're gonna have to conquer other countries in Europe, as let's say Holland or something, if you
Yeah.
want to get bigger than what you otherwise could be. It's like in EU4, in theory, if you want to just keep sitting and developing, you could do that, and there's not really a limit except for your willingness to like
Click.
spend your monarch points.
Yeah.
But but in EU5, like eventually you're just gonna be out of pops, and then you have to expand. But if you expand too early, your cost of court is too high, so then it might not be worth it.
Which do you think is better for playing tall between Vic 3 and EU5?
Well, probably Vic 3. I mean,
Yeah,
I it's
that's what I
just
think
Vic
as
3
well.
is Vic 3's economics are significantly more in depth and like a lot more, I would say, manipulable is probably the term I'd use. Like
Would you say
in
less
EU5, yeah, I would say less arcadey. I might even say it's more grounded. But EU5's economics are very much so like whatever you build, it's probably going to be the right thing to build as long as you're sorting by profit. Even if you're not, I mean, more stuff is just more buildings consume more things, and you'll probably be okay.
Yeah.
But in Vic 3, you can definitely build the wrong thing. Like if you're building 100 iron mines and 0 coal mines, then like you're screwing yourself, like very directly screwing yourself. So
There is like one sort of like exception to the building the best thing, which is the stuff that consumes wood. I think you like pump the brakes on a little bit. So
construction
the
goods,
carpentry
yeah.
and the lacquerware, yeah, the stuff that collapsing the price is that is important for collapsing the price. But they've nerfed like the numbers on the price collapse thing. It isn't minus 66% anymore.
Yeah, it's only minus 25 now. I felt that. I was like, oh
Yeah.
shit. Because when I was doing Holland, I was in that earlier patch where the prices could go to like negative 66. And I was building stuff for like 10 ducats. And I was like, this
Yeah.
is amazing. Like, this is beautiful.
Especially when you stack like more and more of those modifiers. Like, have you? I don't think you haven't played as a Merchant Republic yet, have you?
Not yet. No. Well, I played Florence and reformed into a merchant republic once,
Oh,
but I
you can
didn't play
flip
much.
Merchant Republic with them.
Yeah, you can because you can take off
So good.
Signoria, and I don't know if it's intended, but you can take off Signoria and have no major government reform, and then you can just put on Merchant Republic. I don't
Okay.
think it's intended though. I probably should report that now that I think about it, but I thought it was intended at first. But
No,
basically, there's a way to take off
that
Signoria,
changes
so then you
by
can just
nation.
Merchant
Well,
Republic.
like when I've tried to take off stuff off of republics and swap to another thing, it's actually just bricked the thing. Maybe I just needed to wait
Interesting.
a
Okay.
few months, but
I don't know. I
that
think I have
actually
the I think I have the save. I could show it to you sometime where I have
that
that Merchant
changes
Republic
things a
Florence, but
lot. I think
um,
like Milan actually might be like I'm making like a country tier list or like a country rankings thing, and merchant republics are just absolutely like nutted.
they're busted.
Um,
Yeah, they're pretty good.
and so, like, if I could swap Merchant Republic on every single country, I would. But building in subjects minus 50% cost, and then you could get more and more of those modifiers. You could get like you could hit the floor of minus 90%, and you build stuff for like 2 ducats, and you just queue up 500 buildings before you annex someone,
Yeah,
and then you
smart.
get it all for five, like
Hmm.
super super cheap. Something that you've been focused on more than I think other content creators, which I think is like super correct, is like playing for crown power a lot more than I think what a
Yeah.
lot of other people are focused on. Because if you're under 25, for the audience, you get this really nasty malice to tax efficiency, which is like apocalyptically bad. But if you're over
Yes.
25, or just in general, the percentage of your trade income that you get is actually scales with crown power, and this is like really really like important because your trade income also increases all your expense sliders as well, and so getting a bigger share of that is more valuable than it like appears.
Yeah. So it's important to note that your economic base includes the value of all of your trades, no matter how much of it you're
Yeah,
actually taking money from. So if you're only making say 20%, I don't know how low it goes, but 20% of your trade money, then the 100% of your trades are still making your cost of court higher. So for me, the reason why I've been emphasizing early game crown power so much is because early game trade money is so important that having the extra trade income from the crown power is really good. Having the tax efficiency is really good, and if you ask me, what is it, aptitude? I forget the term. The
uh,
efficiency,
yeah.
the cabinet
You already
efficiency
have so
from
much
crown
of it.
power is also good. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah,
you getting it's good. It's good to have, right? It's not a huge deal, but to me, like those little things, they add up. And of course, avoiding the below 25 is a huge thing.
yeah.
But when you have more crown power, a bigger thing. This is for me. It's even bigger. Every other estate also has lower power. And remember, above at higher levels of influence, you lose max tax on your estates. So like
Yeah,
you don't
that's
want to let
true.
your nobles get to like 35% power or something because then you're losing max tax. Same with your burghers. I had a recent Florence run where I death spiraled because my
Yeah.
burghers got to like 50% power. I don't remember how I did it, but I basically just gave them way too many privileges. And I was
And
getting
you were
like a
plutocratic
bit,
is the
yeah,
big
exactly.
one.
Super plutocratic, too many privileges, not enough crown power, that kind of thing. And suddenly, I can only put like 15% taxes on my burgers, and they're my entire economy. And remember, they still contribute to the cost of my court, no matter how much I tax them in terms of their buildings. I mean, the economic base
Yeah,
doesn't care about how much you tax; it only cares about the economic base of your nation.
yeah.
So, yeah, so like if you just overflow, one of your estates and that's the one you're trying to tax for all your money, you're screwed. So you really need to keep your crown power up. To me, it's been like the center of almost every playthrough until I guess like I've only gotten one playthrough to the point where you get liberalism and the other thing, the values that are
Absolutism.
the absolutism, yeah. I've only got one playthrough that far, and at that point, I wanted to go liberalism, so I started to pull back some of my crown power as part of the event chains for that. But I haven't actually played enough there to comment on that particular period. So maybe by then, crown power is not as valuable. In the early game, it's like everything though.
I think it gets diluted by virtue of you getting more other modifiers like tax efficiency modifiers and this type of thing.
Yeah,
But like, I also think that it hurts your parliaments a little bit. Um,
yeah,
uh, but this mattered more before parliaments got super nerfed because you used to be able to push for like 100 or 150 support parliaments a lot easier. And when you could do that, having your states have more powers so that it would be easier to ladder the parliaments up another 50 support was a lot better. A little bit of like a side note is that the trade that it adds is not the value of all your trades. It's like the value of like the purchase price, the initial purchase price of all your trades, or like it's something a little bit different. But like,
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't even know the difference. I don't even know what you mean. That's what I'm gonna say to that.
It's
The
like,
point is more trades, more cost of court. That's how it. That's how it
the
goes for
important
me.
thing is that you're scaling up the cost of court in a way that is like proportionate to like the amount of trading that is done, not your actual trade income. If your crown power is sufficiently low, you'll actually lose money by adding trades, kind of.
Yeah.
But you'll increase tax base because you.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine a playthrough where where you're that low on crown power though. Like you need to restart if you're that low. Yeah, okay, I gotta try. I haven't tried it. I tried starting as France. I played for like 1 year, and I was like, "There's way too many subjects here. I'm done." I didn't play them. I was like, "Whatever."
When I did my France start, I actually released more subjects at game start. It was because it's like,
that's crazy.
It's too hard on the crown power. But England has this like, it's a really good law or policy rather. It's in a law. That always confuses me. They're called like it's a law is the category, but the individual thing is called a policy. But it gives plus 10% max tax, but also minus 33% crown power. And before you have a lot of crown power modifiers, that's kind of stinky.
That hurts.
Yeah.
Well, you know what you do is you put a crown guy in charge of your navy. You put a crown guy in charge of your army. You put a cabinet member all crowned. You make him the head of the cabinet. These steps. One thing I will say, it's a bit annoying that I feel like I have to do those steps every single time, and also it feels weird that I can have one like cog, or I guess Hulk, the early game transport ships, one Hulk, and I put my king in it, and now 25% crown power. It's like, okay, that's a little bit weird, but
and then if you don't like your king, you just sail it off into the horizon.
Yep. Perfect, yeah. It's funny. It's one of those things where I would complain about it more if I didn't see EU5 as more arcadey. I'm okay to take these kind of like sort of weird, ungrounded, like, whatever type things, because I don't know, I don't see EU5. I see EU5 as truly the sequel to EU4, and EU4 is very arcadey if you ask me. It's very like, just do whatever you want, stack modifiers, do crazy crap. Victoria 3 is very grounded, and I expect that from Victoria 4 if it ever happens. Whereas EU5, I don't expect any groundedness.
Are you saying that?
Well, some groundedness, a little bit.
They've already played out Vic 3, and they need a sequel now? Is that what
of course, yeah. They need to abandon the game. They got to redo it. Yeah.
That is like EU5 is doing so many more things than Vic 3, but Vic 3 generally has a lot more grounding. And like the example is like when you buy a building in Vic 3, or construction in Vic 3 is a little weird though. I like that construction consumes goods and you buy the goods, and then you're paying for the goods and the wages, and this has trickle-down effects on the rest of the economy. In EU5, you just pay ducats, and the ducats don't buy individual goods for constructing the building. Just as the building's being constructed, it purchases goods from the market, but it doesn't pay anyone, and no one gets paid. But the prices go up, so the buildings make more money. And so it's kind of doing the thing, but not as in a direct way. But Vic 3, your construction you can build anywhere. With like, you have construction in London and you can use it to build in Ethiopia, which is definitely very weird. And EU5 gets away from that because it's localized on the construction.
Yeah, dude. Speaking of no wages, by the way, the Black Death situation in the very early game. One thing I remember learning in like I took like a couple history courses back at university is like how the Black Death led to like more power for peasants because there were fewer of them, so their labor became more valuable, right? Because there's no wages in EU5. So one time I played a game and I thought I'm gonna do nothing with the Black Death and just let everyone die and see what happens. And it's like because you lose like half your population or something. It's like crazy if you don't do anything to stop it. And it has no impact on the economy aside from maybe you're missing some burgers for your buildings.
And like that's it. Like it's goes down a lot. I feel.
Yeah, because less consumption.
Yeah, prices.
But I mean, in the sense of like there's no what would I say? Because there's no like wages or SOL or anything. We don't see this thing of like, oh, we need more laborers because we're out of laborers now. It's just like kind of everything just reshuffles to being suppressed because you have less population.
Yeah.
But then because you have less population, your cost of court's going to go down because your economic base is lower. So it kind of just ends up evening out in terms of your income.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, whatever, right? Like it's funny.
Eventually, like you just get all the qualified pops back too. Like it doesn't kill your buildings. So like. After like 20 years or so, like your buildings are all fully employed again, but you still have less demand than you did before.
Of course, yeah. I just found it really funny. Just it's just a funny note that like this extremely impactful event is like pretty like okay kind of in EU5 because of there's no wages. There's no wages. There's no you can't measure the impact because of
Yeah,
it. And no wages means like no. I mean, we already mentioned it earlier, but no spiraling consumption, right? Like it's so different than
yeah,
Vic 3, where like again, it's weird because Vic 3's meta actually is not to spiral SOL up because of how the
right.
wages work, but nonetheless, I like to do it.
But
I prefer to play that way.
you spiral more
You know?
construction instead. It's not like
Yeah.
you're still constantly churning. Have you gotten to the point where you like just your economy just like flatlines because nothing makes any money anymore in EU5?
I've got or in EU5, yeah, I'll say Vic 3 I've done that even, but with Vic 3 what
Harder in
happens is
Vic 3.
it's much harder, but it takes a long time but you can get
You
there.
have
But
to
in
like
EU5, yeah.
you have to get you have to get throttled by a good. You have to get like rubber to plus
Yeah.
75 or iron
Yes,
to
yeah.
plus 75.
Usually what happens with me is I'll be out of rubber or out of oil like you
Yeah.
said, that kind of thing, or it's that I have so much construction that I'm building so fast that there's not enough infrastructure for the private sector to take over, and if the private sector can't build it, then I don't have the budget for it, and then I start collapsing.
Oh, that's
That kind of thing happens
there's
to me a
also
lot.
like I think what's the number? Like if you have 10,000 construction or something, the auto queue can't pick up more than 10,000.
Yeah, yeah, that happens too. That's like
And
a bug though. That's like actually like a bug, I think, isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah,
but it's like
a limit of the
it's
AI. I don't
it's
know.
a final frontier kind of bug because I think
Yeah,
most players aren't running into the oh no I have more than 20,000 construction.
yeah, yeah. So it's a rare problem. But like you said, in EU5 though, when you hit that point where nothing's profitable anymore,
Yeah,
that's when you go conquering, right? I mean, that's like when you have to go and expand your market or make a new market if you don't
yeah.
have one yet. That's when you want to go and like acquire more
Acquire.
possible economic expansion. Yes,
I
acquire.
I think it's going to be very acute in multiplayer, the stall outs, the economic stall outs,
Yeah,
because right now you get a ton of value from exporting to the AI, who's weak.
yeah,
And if there's less AI to export and there's more people exporting to the AI, that avenue of you're effectively stealing their demand, right?
yeah,
When you
yeah.
export to them, and that avenue of like ingress is going to go away. And so,
Hmm.
um, one thing I do really like about EU5 though, like relative to Vic 3, is that colonial extraction like feels real. Like in Vic
Yeah,
3, you have like this colony and it has like 20 SOL, and you're like,
yeah.
what is this?
It just works.
But
It's like it's the wet dream of all the like super far right people that say that the world is better because of like British colonialism. And
yeah,
it's like, bro, they built
who
railroads,
brought
bro.
them
And it's
up?
like, and Vic 3 proves it apparently. Yeah, Vic 3 is the thesis that
They
says
called
yes,
it
in fact.
Marxist. Really, it's just
Yeah.
the but in EU5, like a lot of the value is actually on the trades.
Hmm.
And you as the colonial overlord, you can control those trades. And so you're in like Cuba and you're producing chili and you're producing a ton of chili, so the price there collapses. So it doesn't give much to the tax base. But then with the really low chili price there and really expensive chili, let's say back in Venice, importing it back to Venice is very, very lucrative. And then you get control of the trade if you have the trade advantage, which as the colonial overlord you could secure that type of situation basically. And so I think that it is better modeled for like actually making it so that the colonized people are really poor and you're really rich off the back of what they're doing.
Definitely. The thing is that because there's no SOL number, it's hard to really measure that they're so poor, except I guess by their commodity goods
Yeah.
being expensive. Like if you were to take all their goods away, their prices go higher, so then their satisfaction goes down, and that's how I guess you can see that they're like
Yeah.
suffering. Whereas in EU4 you have that like 4 SOL starving, you really get an idea of what's happening there.
You could do economic base per capita, but that's not like a thing
Yeah.
that's represented in game at all.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
Um,
gonna say something, but I forgot what it was now, and it had to do with
Big true.
yeah, I know. I forgot what it was. It was something. Oh, I was gonna. I just remembered it. I just forgot it. I think I'm actually losing my mind.
Yeah,
But it was. No, it's not coming back. No, all right, never mind. Move
it's
on. Maybe it'll come
gone
back to me later.
forever.
It's
Like
not.
we
It's
were
gone.
talking about
It's gone.
colonization, colonial extraction.
Yeah.
Victoria 3, I think, fails to model it like in a way that I would like.
Yeah.
One thing I don't like, and I've left feedback about this for EU5, is you actually can't import markets into deficits. It's not
Right. Yes.
possible. They
Yeah.
have to consume. So if you're trying to like bring spices back from India and you have to make multiple stops, when you like stop at the Cape, like they get to eat all the spices they want. You can't just keep shipping it forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've only barely played with colonization. I played in like a steel game. I eventually got to like the Caribbean, and I was like, oh, I can import stuff from the market. But the weird thing is, you know how like in Victoria 3, like it's all one market. Like when like your
Yeah.
empire is like one market, right? It always messes with me in EU5 to be like, oh, I got to import this from a place that's basically my own market. Like I got to
Yeah.
import between my own markets, right? When I played as Holland and I conquered London, I had the London market.
Yep.
And I was like, oh right, I have to like make trades. Now I have more trade advantage here because I conquered it all. But like I still have to do the trades, and like it all just becomes one big market. It was it's interesting to me how EU5 has this more like localized economy
Yeah.
because of the nature of market access. Where in Victoria 3, like everything is 100% market access. Well, not 100, well, like 85 or whatever. It's like pretty high market access unless you don't have railways. It's
Yep.
like
But Vic three's like or EU5's lack of market access is more crippling than Vic three's, I think.
yeah, because the output it messes with your output or
Yeah.
whatever, right? I think that's what it does. Yeah, it definitely. But what I mean is that EU5 simulates like a world where if you have all the goods in one spot, it's way more advantageous than in Big Three, where it's a bit advantageous. Like having a rainbow state in Big Three with all the like lumber, coal, iron
Yeah.
all in one spot is nice, but it's not like it's really necessary. It's just that it's a nice thing to have. In EU5, when you have like silk next to some wool, you're like, this is amazing. I love
Yeah.
this, you know, because it's really good.
The production bonus you get from building in provinces where you have the RGO is like all
Exactly.
it's the throughput is like a much more mild modifier than output. And the modifiers in EU5
Yeah.
are output modifiers, which
Yes,
are
they are, and
real
it makes me
strong.
lose my mind because I remember again I was doing Holland and they have techs for getting more iron output,
Yeah.
and I have all these bog iron from the marshes,
65%.
and I'm like, yeah, I'm like
Bro.
66% output. Holy, like you know. And I think the reason why they have to do that is because the reason throughput's good is you pay same wages for more output and more input, but you're streamlining on cost of wages is the point of throughput. In EU5, there's no wages, so if you do throughput,
That's
you're,
true.
you're not necessarily
You're
even really increasing
streamlining building
profits.
slots.
Yeah, that would be what you're doing. But like it's I think it's got to be output for EU5 because no wages. It would feel like I think a lot of people would look at it and be like, what's even the benefit of this? You have to think about it in order to see like
Also
when I
better
first
per
started playing Big 3, throughput
per
didn't make
building.
sense to me. It didn't make sense to me back in the very beginning. I was like, yeah, well, I'm increasing my inputs and my outputs. What's the point? But then you learn about how wages are important. And since you don't have wages in EU5, like it would only help, like you said, with the efficiency of your ducats per
Yeah.
building and your building slots. But it's more meaty. I think the arcadey here comes again. It's more satisfying in an arcadey game to get a big meaty bonus than it is in a game that's more grounded, where it's more like a thing that you have to be an intellectual to understand. I'm memeing, but
Truth hurts.
you know, yeah, you know, it's that this game I think appeals more to that like big number kind of dopamine, whereas
Yeah.
Vic 3 doesn't appeal to that. So I want there to be more of these output modifiers because yeah, it did make me really happy to stack output on iron as Holland. It was crazy. It felt great.
That's an example of something I also think like has to be the case because like people are gonna freak out about like free money and like tax efficiency and like max tax and like output
Yeah.
efficiency, but then like a whole ton of like value also just gets churned deleted into the
Yeah.
sliders. And
Yes.
so, like, if you wanted to make the sliders scale consumption, you would have to try it. You would have to like cut back modifiers elsewhere. Otherwise, the economy is probably already too fast, but the economy would be like way too fast. I think the economy like really just kicks off just as soon as you get like workshops. Like that seems to be the very
Yeah.
acute
Oh
point.
yeah.
Um,
When you get to I think what is it the fourth era when you get those the workshops and stuff? Maybe
well,
it's
I
third.
was
I
thinking
forget.
just the books and the paper, but yeah, the fourth
Oh
era.
yeah, 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 yeah. At the fourth era, you like you go from being like, oh my god, I'm making like 80 ducats a month. I'm so happy, and you're making like 1,000 every month, and it's
Yeah.
like this is low. I need more. What is this
Yeah,
low
which
income?
is
Like that.
terrible.
That's what happens when you get to the fourth era, and suddenly you're upgrading like all your fine fabrics or whatever, fine cloth,
Yeah.
into like the fine cloth
The
workshops, and it's like,
I
oh
w-
my
I
god.
was looking. I haven't looked at the PM's comprehensive, but I was looking at them a little bit.
Mm.
The PMs are the efficiency rate between PMs is huge in terms of like
Yeah, it's
difference.
astronomical. Yeah,
And like,
I haven't done any spreadsheets, and I know from playing, it's that big that you don't need to do a spreadsheet to see it. You play the game, and then you get the
it's
tech,
like
and you see your income like pentuple, like more than that, maybe
it's like
even.
the fine cloth
Yeah.
is like 4 times the efficiency of the,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
of most other things at least. And it's just like,
Yeah.
I guess we're making fine cloth. Of course, what will happen is the price of fine cloth will collapse, and eventually you'll reach a price equilibrium, like in theory. But like this makes places that like have silk or have cotton really really valuable, because the best industry is like the that they lead into the best industry means you get the production efficiency, means you can outcompete people, and in theory you can like dump into their market better because you can push the price lower. In particular, this is something I hope they don't get rid of, so I'm a little reluctant to like talk about it. But
We'll hold you to account. Don't worry.
Because I think it's really fun and interesting, but you can build plantations overseas. Overseas just means on a different continent. That's all it means.
Castilian sugar plantations in Maghreb. Is that what, is that where you're going? I went there too. Yeah, I feel it.
Yeah. Boy, does it feel good to have like a level 35 plantation and like 10 like cotton or whatever, and you're producing like instead of like a cotton province that's producing 15 cotton, you're getting plus 300% on 40 total building things, and so you're getting like you're getting like 120. You're getting like 10x like the amount of cotton you have any business getting, and then you're like, well, cotton's super low. Guess what I can build a lot of now? And it's like fine cloth. And it's like there's
and they even got like sugar in Maghreb too. You can do like the sugar plantations. It's so good.
Plus, when you eventually get what is it, the Colombian exchange, you'll probably be able to put tobacco up there too. I don't know if tobacco like will plant in Maghreb. I know it'll plant in Mali, but plantations there too. And there's like three zones where you could like where you have like this border between continents in the old world, and that's like Castile, Maghreb. I guess you could do Italy to like Tunis, but that's not as much what I had in mind. Ottomans to the Balkans or Anatolia.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah, that's going to change my current Ottoman campaign. I didn't realize that was considered overseas. But you move your capital to Constantinople.
Yeah,
with Ottomans you move cap.
Yeah.
Oh right. Oh yeah.
So
okay.
it's Anatolia and the Levant. You can get control to the Levant fairly easy. Levant has cotton there, and there's a little bit of cotton in Anatolia, and then also Egypt and Asia. Specifically, you move your capital into Asia, I think is Egypt, and then back in like Cairo, now that's on a different continent. So you can get like I don't even know how much like building levels you can get if you downgrade it because your pop is so high there. But it's like probably like 60 plantations and like 30 RGOs, and like you're producing like 800 cotton out of one place or something.
I don't remember Egypt's RGOs off the top of my head, but I mean, like there's the cities in Egypt have like 500,000 fucking people in them.
Yeah.
Sorry, I shouldn't swear. I don't know, bad for the monetization, but they have like 500,000 people in them. So you put that to a rural location, and there'll be like 20 plus maybe like RGO slots. Like
there's
maybe
20
more actually.
plus when it's a city.
Okay, then like 40. I don't know, some crazy number. Yeah, that's insane.
And plantation number scales with the RGO count number.
Yeah.
So,
dude, it's so interesting to me how EU5 is like the less grounded / arcadey version of Victoria 3's economics, and yet it's actually somehow like way more exciting to me. This is probably also because it's new to me. To be fair. Yeah, because in Vic 3, like I think when I was first discovering how the game worked, there was some excitement as well, and then companies added some excitement to that too. Yeah. But I think that EU5 has sparked in me like an immense curiosity I haven't felt for a long time. Even in Vic 3 in the early days, I was like a little curious, but not that much. But here I'm like, this is a lot.
You know what? You know what's an interesting one? This is gonna scratch your Vic 3 brain. Exports in Vic 3 will pretty much always increase your GDP. Just like you export goods, you push prices up, higher prices will push up your GDP. Exports in EU5 don't necessarily increase your tax base. because
they would always use your economic base, right? But not
nope,
necessarily your tax base.
nope.
Or no,
They
okay,
could actually
all right.
decrease it.
Cinema
And cinema.
yeah.
Because what you could have is in the middle of your market, you could have your urban area that is building up stuff, right? And with your urban area that is building up buildings, you have way more market access.
Yes.
And you also, your contribution to your tax base is way higher there. It's because it's proportional to your market access. On the outskirts, you can have the inputs in the form of RGOs, which don't have an output malus due to market access, but they do have a contribution to tax-based malus. And so,
right.
if you export those and they're inputs for your like central urban area, you can yeah,
they just clicked.
Because there's an asymmetry that's like not an asymmetry that would never happen in Vic 3. So like Vic 3, that's an impossible thing. But like EU5, the idea, I guess, to like try and make it as clear to the audience as possible is that you're pushing up the price of the wool, let's say, or the cotton as an input, but you are not getting as high a proportion of the tax base actually contributed to your tax base because so much of it is being lost to lack of control of market access. And so even though you have the high quantity of goods, you don't have a high representation of those goods in terms of your actual economic base because they get killed by market access and control. You just have the goods themselves, and those goods are feeding into your industries where you do have a lot of control of market access. And so when you export those goods, you are decreasing the size of your economy.
Yeah. No, it makes sense now that you mentioned. I hadn't thought of that edge case in a literal sense.
No,
but
it's
yeah.
When I thought about that, I was like, bro, this is so cool because like that can't happen in Vic 3, and it also makes it so you want to be a little bit more protectionist-y. If you had any, like, you don't have any levers for really being protectionist other than just full-on embargoing someone.
Yeah,
but
I love you say that. I said that almost verbatim in the impressions video. I was like, yeah, there's no embargoes, no tariffs, no subventions, but you can embargo. That's basically all you can do.
That's it.
Yeah.
But like, if you're exporting the fine cloth and the cotton, you're like, well, this sucks because you can't even you can't even tell your like the automated trade to not trade something. I would really like to be able to tell them, hey, don't ever export wood under any circumstance ever.
Yeah, just
like,
keep the construction goods always low. Yeah.
Yeah.
Max tariff wood every game. Yeah.
Yeah, basically the analog. The construction goods also just aren't very expensive in EU5. Just in general.
Yeah.
So they're not very profitable in their own right, which is a huge difference from Vic 3.
Yeah, Vic 3, like half your economy is the construction like the construction loop is like half the economy a lot of the time. Until the super late game, then it's all cars. Then it's what it is.
Yeah, it is all cars.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm shocked we haven't gotten a loud car appearance yet.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna let my cat out to maybe see if she wanted to do her loud car impression, but I decided that I'll keep some professionalism. I'll let her stay in there in the bedroom. My partner.
Everyone knows that cat is like the creme de la creme of.
She keeps on meowing. So when I record my scripts, I have headphones on and I listen to myself talk as I do it, so I get an idea of how I sound and if I mispronounce anything. But these like cancel noise. My cat will meow while I'm recording, and I won't I'll like my ears like block it out. I don't know. I don't hear it, and then I go back to edit the video, and I hear the cat noise, and I'm like, I don't want to re-record. I'm just gonna leave it in, so that it'll be like a meow in the middle of my videos constantly.
I don't want to re-record. So funny. I just leave it in as like an anthem for me. Yep. Except for like I actually do. I cut out so many loud car clips.
You shouldn't. People, well, maybe I think you leave in the right amount because people love them. If there were too many, people would stop liking them. Probably,
there's no way it's correct for me to like not cut out all of them.
Yeah, I love when in the first like 5 seconds of your videos, a car appears and it's like you're just like, and there's the loud car. Like it's like you can tell there's the slight frustration in your voice at the loud car.
If it's at the beginning of the video, there's a ton of loud cars, and I've already done so many takes that I'm not doing another one because usually if it's at the start of a clip, I just start over the clip. I'm just like, okay, whatever. And so usually it's only 10 seconds or more into a clip, especially if I'm doing like a one take like type of thing. It'll be present. So something I was also like noticing, and just like in terms of like thinking about EU5 relative to Vic 3 is Vic 3 just generally feels a lot more macro and abstract
Yes.
based. And has very, very little micro. That's like one thing I think Vic 3 is like, if you want to avoid micro and you still want to have like an economic system, like Vic 3 is spectacular because you actually don't have to do that much clicking. But EU5 feels a lot more like a city builder where infrastructure is like at a big heart of like the economic decisions. And a big part of what you're doing is actually, or I think a major decision, and I think I don't think many other people are sweating this anywhere near as much as me, is like, where do you put the capital, where do you put like the market centers and like this type of stuff.
I think we talked about it back when I was first doing Holland, and you were giving me some advice about like how to like make the food problem fix there, which is another topic. But you were talking about like moving the capital where it should be and stuff like that. And I think that a lot of people's answers is gonna just be like, well, I want the capital there. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, it just it's like, well, you know, I just. Like, for me, I kept it in Den Haag because that's where the capital should be. I don't know. You know? It should be in, like, Antwerp, probably. That's, like, probably the best one because it's got the... Well, at least the market capital should be there. But
kind of what I think. You could make an argument for... Someone else was making the argument for Dordrecht, or however it's pronounced.
Dordrecht, whatever, I don't know.
Which I thought was reasonable. I still think Antwerp is better. But
well, Antwerp for the one thing about the natural harbor stuff on Antwerp is just so good. Like, I've realized even as Ottomans, Constantinople has 100% natural harbor suitability. So it's like that's really nice. The problem is that Anatolia has so few natural harbors. The best one is in like Sugla, like in the west coast of Anatolia. And it's like,
a feeling that if they're going to make natural harbors matter more, which my understanding is currently there's like a bug where it doesn't calculate on the incoming harbor or when you disembark. I imagine that a lot of natural harbors will get buffed.
Okay, that's good, because right now with the Ottomans, when you move capital to Constantinople, you can just forget Anatolia. That shit's losing all of its control. Like, it's done. It's over.
That's a super noob trap. Like, I think, like, I'm actually going to do, like, a top 5, like, beginner nations. I think Ottomans is going to be one of them. But, like, for each one of those things, there's going to be a huge asterisk where, like, you have to, like, keep this in mind or, like, be aware of this. And the fact that, like, moving your capital just bricks you is, like, real
thankfully, the Ottomans do have that bonus where they get plus 5% monthly control. And that means that you can use one of your cabinet members to increase control, and it'll shoot the control up to, like, about 75, 80-ish very quickly. So if you're willing to, you can rotate the cabinet control guy, if you're willing to, which I only did for Bursa, which is the first capital of the Ottomans, because that place I'd already built up so much. That's, like, about a third of my economic base. Like, no joke, a third of my tax base is in Bursa. I need 100 control there. So that place, I kept the cabinet guy on, and then Constantinople was the capital. But if you don't do that, then you're going to suddenly plummet in your tax base because you've lost all the control.
Using increased control might be the suggestion, I think. I thought you were
just for that one state, not rotating forever, but just that one state you really need.
What I hate. I want to try and figure if I can get them to change that, because like the meta should. It's incredibly tedious, but right now, like, the best cabinet action is just increase control, and you're just supposed to rotate the guy every, like, 3 months to a different location.
I think a few patches ago, wasn't it that you could have multiple cabinet members on increased control at once? Or was that, I'm misremembering that?
Can you not? I mean, I haven't tried to spin
Right now you can't. Yeah, right now you can't, you can only have one cabinet member on increased control at a time. Yeah, which helps a little bit. It means it's less meta, but it also means that now it's more annoying in a way because you got to rotate even more. But I used to, before that change, every cabinet member was on increasing control because it was like really the best thing to do. Like, it was amazing.
It's very strong, and the decay, the amount by which you increase control incrementally up to like a new cap is like 7x what the decay is. And so what you do is you just increase it, and then you have the guy leave. And it'll take 7 times the amount of time for it to come.
It's like 20x on Ottomans, by the way, because they have that government reform that gives plus, or maybe I forget it's an advancement of government reform, but it gives you plus 5. It gives you plus 5% increased control each month, and that stacks. And that's 5 flat, not 5% on what you're doing. It's like 5, and then maybe you get plus 2 more, so you're going 7% per month.
For reference, like, the normal gain is 0.5 or something like this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, normally you're getting about 0.5. Cabinet puts is like 2.5 maybe. Ottomans are base 5. Like, it's insane.
That's the nerfed reform. That's
before it was base control, right? It was the base control. Yeah, that's really good too, but that's too powerful probably.
I think that flat control just kind of invalidated the system regarding control. There's still a few flat control modifiers, but I'm gonna have a top like government reforms video, and I so don't want to like talk about them publicly, so they get like
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
like as I'm collecting notes.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I'll tell you off stream. I'll tell what the
Sure, that
audience
sounds good. Yeah.
however long
Yeah.
it is.
Make it members only. What you do is this is your chance. Okay, got to become a generalist channel member if you
Yeah.
want to see the extra
NDA
part of the
breaking.
extra part of the stream. Yeah, NDA break stream for channel members only. The Paradox devs have to become channel members to see what
That's how
NDA
you
you broke.
get 'em.
That's what they gotta. Yeah, exactly.
I do have a Paradox employee as a member, so
Oh shit, it's over.
might get into trouble if I do
Make
that.
a like $1,000 tier where the Paradox channel, someone at Paradox have to pay you $1,000 in order to see the NDA break stream.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything I could break NDA on that I wouldn't get in trouble for.
I don't know. I would say ideas, but I'd be breaking your NDA, so I probably shouldn't be doing that.
The only thing I can think of that I would be able to express here is like we're not supposed to reuse the shorts.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I think that's just your own short. I don't think that's someone else's short. I don't
Interesting.
think
So you could coordinate with someone and be like, it'd be funny.
I mean, I'm not going to do that, but I think that like technically that's not like in any way, shape, or form like enforceable because that's just like public information. I don't think you can NDA that. But like, I wouldn't do that because they don't want us to like they didn't want people to make shorts that were like I'm gonna show 200 screenshots and then do an AAR with it later. Yeah.
I remember back when the first videos were coming out, where it was a half hour, and you were like, pause if you want to read this stuff, and that was how you were fitting more content. It's like pause to read and then keep going. Yeah, I think they're just trying to avoid those kind of loopholes. That makes sense.
Yeah. No, I think it's reasonable. So that's the only thing I can think of where it's like I don't think there's a legal grounds, even though we've been asked to like not do that. I don't think there's like a legal grounds for.
Yeah. Well, part of it is just like we want to kind of foster good relations with Paradox. So we don't want to like take advantage of them.
That's why I have no interest in like doing it. I'm just saying I probably could, and there's like no, but like getting into the weeds of like is this legal or not is like kind of silly because you just don't want to like mess with what they're doing anyways. Like it's like we all have very aligned interests, generally speaking, with like EU5 and the rollout of EU5 doing well. And so stepping on the marketing team's toes for like very minimal like whatever is like probably just not a good decision in the abstract anyways.
Yeah. No point, yeah.
But also stressing out the people who are in charge of handling us with like just like making stuff way too
give them a heart attack.
Yeah. So something that we do see present in EU5 that's also present in Vic 3, although it's way more in depth in Vic 3, is that your economics inform your politics. And in EU5 it's done through the fact that all your buildings will only employ people from one particular estate, whatever that estate is, or just one profession even. There's no mixed pops in any building. And those employees then inform the politics by contributing to estate power in a really significant way. A flat amount, which is modified by whatever percentage modifiers you have, but as you get more burger buildings, the burgers get a lot more powerful. And they're kind of the only estate that really gets a lot of buildings. I feel like that you can build a whole lot of buildings other than scriptoriums in the Second Age. Or the first.
No, I mean you can build like. There's very few noble buildings in the game. Like there's like there's. I mean I was gonna say there's a fort. The fort is a soldier building, but it gives power to the nobles when you build one. But like there's like the royal court, which you can only build one of in your capital, and there's like the Republican Assembly for Republic. Like I think that's also that might even be a burger building for all I know, but. There's very few noble buildings, but I think the way that you're intended to get nobles is just to like do the aristocracy value is pretty much how you do it. Yeah.
If you're heavy on aristocracy, like the way it's represented in the game, I like don't think is correct. I think it's just percentage of pops, and so it scales like pretty linearly. You get more noble potentials, and so more pops will promote to nobles, and same thing on the other side with plutocracy, except for on top of that, you get a lot of burger buildings. Castile is actually pretty good for pushing nobles, though, because the lieutenancy,
Yeah.
their unique pseudo bailiff building, which can only be built on a separate continent, which Maghreb is a separate continent.
Yes, it is.
It employs 50 nobles.
That's pretty good. That's
and
nice.
So, like, when you look at that building and you're, like, looking at, like, the upkeep price and you're like, okay, this is going to have some upkeep cost. Even if I don't care at all about the proximity, it's probably still worth building because it creates 50 nobles.
Yeah. Dude, it's so good that you mentioned this, by the way, because I want to talk about something like when it comes to EU5s, it has a lot of weirdness with your abstraction of what's actually happening in the game. And what I mean, I'm going to expand on it, okay? When you build that lieutenancy, it's making nobles. But you're building it overseas. So these nobles are like a foreign culture and probably a foreign faith. And they're like the underclasses. They're presumably the underclass of your nation when they're in the colonies, right? But now they're actually becoming your consumers. Like, they're becoming the ones that are taking in these goods. Because let's say you have enough fine cloth that you've created the price now and you need more demand. The answer is to make a bunch of, like, Moroccan nobles. And it's like, in terms of the gameplay, it works completely fine. And it's an okay gameplay loop. But if I were to think about the abstraction of what's actually happening here, it's like you're making a massive demand for consumer goods in what's supposed to be your colonial region. Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. I think a lot about the abstractions of what I'm doing in these games. For me, that's a big part of the fun. And I'm just like, this is kind of ridiculous when you tell me stuff like that. It's like, what the heck are we doing here? Like, we're making a bunch of upper class nobles who are consuming the finished goods from Castile. It's supposed to be the other way around. Like, what are we, what are we doing? Yeah, it's just funny. It's just funny to me.
There's a lot of, like, funny business when you, like, think through it on the economics. Like, I think it's probably a little bit different now because they made it so that the nobles will consume less than they get paid, but you used to push nobles more than plutocracy because it was better economically.
Yeah.
On top of...
aristocratic republic is based because you get, like, because it's just so good for the consumption. Like plutocracy's fine and it has good bonuses, but, like, consumption is real good for if you need to play tall. Like, and the nobles love consuming.
Your parliaments are
nice.
super miserable on aristocracy versus plutocracy. No, it's fair. I mean, I think economically...
Just stack crown power, bro. Just stack crown power.
Economically, like, I think it used to be that nobles would consume way more than the burghers, and now I think it's, like, roughly double.
So the base, for the purpose of my impression video, I checked the base consumption on many goods for nobles and burghers. Nobles consume per 1,000 0.25 fine cloth. Burghers consume 0.025 fine cloth. So it's about 10% of the consumption that nobles have
consumption
for that particular thing. Yeah, I looked at particular goods that you commonly make. So I was like, fine cloth. Okay, that one's huge, and that's why it's such a strong good. Everyone makes fine cloth, but other stuff was more in line. Like, I think stuff like jewelry was more in line. I don't remember. But the fine cloth was
the minerals, but if you don't...
the fine cloth was an insane margin. It was like a little bit less than 10 times as much consumption on nobles than as on burghers.
I wonder if you care more about net consumption or targeted consumption.
I don't eat nets, bro.
It's fair. Just like, because I looked at just at total consumption, and the burghers were, with the prices I had in the markets when I checked, which, to be fair, that's going to affect everything because buy baskets are in good quantities, not in markets. Each noble consumed roughly double like what a burgher consumed, I think.
Yeah. That checks out to me. If you average all the goods they consume, I think that checks out. Yeah, that checks out.
Which
it's just that when you actually play, it's just like when you're actually playing the game, like, you love building fine cloth because it's so consumed.
Yeah.
So that's why I looked at that good, because I'm like, well, that's the one we're building here in Italy. Like, that's that's what we're making.
That,
right?
And like if you consume a bunch of furs and you're in Holland and you're importing them from Russia, you're pushing up Russia's tax base with your consumption.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to... You actually care... Yeah, you care about the consumption profile of the stuff that you are producing. And if you can't produce it... I think it's if you can't produce it, you effectively discount it. So if you produce the furs... Because I think the burghers consume a lot more furs relative to the nobles, like relative to their total buy package. size.
I could launch the game and check if you want. I don't know if you could do that, but it's okay.
No, no.
I assume you're right because I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm gonna assume you're right.
Well, it depends on their culture. Like Malian
Right, yes.
culture, they eat gold.
Hell yeah, delicious.
I think it's
You know people that put the gold flakes on the food. You know, it's like they're just doing that, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
No, it's they're so sneaky. The modifiers for locations. There are some locations that have like specific modifiers, and like the gold like mines in Mali have like plus 50% output or something. And then like
yeah, there are the little icons for local like location
so
modifiers
small.
are very small.
Yeah,
They're there, and I only realized they were there when I was checking for natural harbor affinity or whatever it's called, and it's next to the natural harbor thing is where it goes.
Which one?
And I was like, oh, there's like stuff here. I think I don't remember now. I mean, I don't remember where I was even looking, but I like some temporary modifier from an event on a location. Okay. I was like, oh, there's a temp modifier there.
Like the biggest modifier I've seen is like plus 400% output on the copper mines in Sweden.
Jeez. Swedish devs.
The copper mine's like the equivalent of a gold mine, except for you never have that much demand for copper. So
yeah,
like, good luck.
I guess. I mean, eventually, I assume that eventually with Canon workshops, maybe you can make something with that because they might use copper for those. But that's about it.
That's so much copper. Like even just like collapsing the price, it's still gonna be like very, very lucrative. And so I wish there was an easier way to parse through that, because there's some interesting ones. Like Bohemia has a silver mine. I know the Mali has gold mines. I know there's like a ton of these modifiers kicking, or there's like a decent chunk of these modifiers kicking around. But
gotta find them all.
Well, I think there might be somewhere between 1 in 500 and 1 in 1,000.
It's a big range
on locations. Which is a lot to get through.
Yeah. I heard the loud car, by the way. I heard a little honk back there. Yeah, I heard a little honk.
That might have been on your end. Or my ears are not so good.
That could be mine, actually, yeah. I don't know.
I don't know how loud the cars get around your neck of the woods.
Not as... I'm in a cul-de-sac, so not as loud. I'm not like next to... I'm not next to a highway and a super speedway like you are, and an airstrip, and like, an alien landing place, everything.
I was disappointed Loud Plane Week got canceled.
Yeah, that saddened me too. Down. And the Canadian planes didn't really come in much, did they?
Weren't very loud.
Bit here and there, yeah.
They sounded a lot less like freedom. The freedom to
Sorry,
be as loud as we want.
We didn't want to hurt your ears, bud. Sorry.
I think it was like I don't know like if it's a different type of engine, but it's like these mega jet engines that like shake your windows versus like these wow, that sounds like a plane. Okay. Type engines where it's like you recognize that that's a plane, but it's not like, oh my god, we're under attack. Which is what the American planes sound like.
I love that.
Truth hurts on that one, but
yeah, dude. Back to EU5. By the way, okay, I want to ask you this. This is in my notes, okay? So I mentioned in my...
We touched through all my notes now, so...
Oh, okay, great. Well, I got stuff of my own. Yeah. This isn't necessarily about economics per se, but it can be if you want to take it there. But like, you know how in EU5 there's no national ideas, right? Instead, you have like the advancements that each country has. I wanted to ask just, and it's a broad question. Like, how do you feel about that? And do you prefer that to national ideas?
I generally like the game to feel more grounded.
Yeah.
And so I prefer it to national ideas, yeah.
Right, yeah.
I think as a system, like, it just, like, it feels a lot better. There's actually no tech system for, like, any strategy game, though, that I really find very satisfying. That I think, actually represents how technology works and how discovery works. It's always just, like, you get these points, and these points go towards these things, and these things give you bonuses. And, like, if you're describing how science works to someone, or like how advancement like works to someone, like as like a scientist or as a historian of science, like it sounds nothing like that. Just like whatever I don't know what they'd say, but it would not be that.
Yeah, I don't know either. But again, even something like I don't know. I've done like when I was in academia doing like linguistics and stuff. Like the way that new knowledge in a field like linguistics comes about is like someone has an idea and everyone shits on it till eventually they start thinking maybe it's kind of okay.
Yeah.
That's like more, you know what I mean? Like it starts off with like an idea and then it gets kind of proven more and more, but like it's not just, oh, I've invented this new concept and now everyone embraces it, right? It's weird. But I guess more like obviously from a gameplay perspective though, I don't know how else you do it besides making some extremely complicated system. But one thing I find interesting, I'm curious what you think. I'm thinking of like the community perspective, right? I think a lot of people are going to look at EU5, see no national ideas, and be like, they Victoria 3'd it. They made every nation the same. They ruined it. Like, I think it's going to happen. I really do. I said in my video, I said, you have to go to the content tab and look at the unique stuff, because that's your national ideas. That's your uniqueness for the country. But a lot of people are not going to do that, and they're not going to look in the tech tree and see that you start the game with some stuff. I didn't know Holland started the game with production efficiency until someone, maybe it was you, I forget who, someone just told me. And they were like, yeah, someone just mentioned offhandedly, by the way, do you enjoy the extra production efficiency? I'm like, what production efficiency? And I look at the tech tree, and it's already researched on GameStart. You have 5% across the whole country from the beginning. It's like, okay, wow, apparently Dutch people are just better. They're just goated.
I think Poland starts out with like proximity reduction and tax efficiency.
That's insane. That's crazy.
Poland has like some really good stuff. It's a shame they don't have any like pop. Like, in terms of overall power level.
Skill issue.
Yeah, basically. It's funny that you phrased it like, everyone's gonna be... I think the Vic 3 people are gonna like it, and the EU4 people are gonna be like...
That's exactly what I was saying, bro. Like, I think, because the Vic 3 people don't expect it, because they're used to the relatively flattened game. Like in Vic 3, most countries play relatively similarly, and then you go to EU5 and now exactly, But in EU5, you drop in and suddenly have stuff. Yeah, well, they're adding more and more flavor, and that kind of thing.
The generally bonuses are very muted in Vic 3 unless they're being applied to a nation that's insignificant. In which case they go ham. Like,
did you know that the if you play CSA, you can get a permanent 10% cotton throughput if you get the King of Cotton event? Insane, right? That's like the peak of flavor for
the EU4 bros are like, wow, 10% cotton output. That seems pretty good. No, throughput.
Yeah, throughput, not even output. Throughput.
To be fair, throughput is almost output for cotton, but.
Yeah, because there's no input goods except for when you get the engine one.
The like percentage, it's like. I forget the percentage that it is relative to the outputs is incredibly low, so it's like it's fun.
Yeah, okay, nerd. Yeah.
Cotton gin gives 25%.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's a great flavor. Oh yeah, all the East Asians get silk throughput. That one tech, the sericulture. Sericulture. Never forget. Never forget sericulture.
Look at this EU5 ripping off Vic 3 with the unique flavor text, the tech tree, the one sericulture tech.
That's all you get.
It's like, no, I've actually looked through, because I'm doing the nation ranking list, and so I've looked through, like, every advance and, like, every single, unique law, and, like, I've looked through, like, all of it now at this point, and there's, like, a lot of stuff that makes, like, strong differentiation. Some countries maybe stand out a little too much.
Probably, yeah. I think Ottomans are real, dude. I've been looking at those. So I didn't look at their content tab before. I wanted to have the experience of discovering the new text as I went, and I'm seeing a whole lot of like plus discipline. Cool. The Janissary unit, pretty good. Janissary barracks, pretty good. Like just all this cool stuff. And I gotta say that it's interesting. I when it comes to not showing everything to you right in your face, like in EU4, it's impossible not to know you have national ideas because like they're always in your face, pretty much. In EU5, if you don't click on that content tab, you won't know necessarily what you have. It's actually pretty fun for your first time playing to discover what your specialization is in a way, which is obviously only a thing you'll experience once or maybe twice if you have bad memory, like in your time playing the game.
Well,
but I think that people want to know it before they start. I think there's going to be a real big backlash against it, unless they really put it in your face that you have all this cool stuff.
My finger is like less on the... I don't know EU4 community that much, except to the extent that I know EU5 community. So it's super hard for me to make those predictions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know them super well. I'm just guessing based on, like, I don't know, how Paradox players are in general. Like, even, like, people talk about CK3 lacking depth, and it's because they don't know the depth is there. And I've been fighting for how deep CK3 can be as a game for a long time, but you have to find it is the problem, right? Whereas a game like EU4, the mission trees are very much so like, here's your depth. and like the unique government reforms. Here's a new mechanic, and it's like right there, and it's always in your face. I think EU5 is going to be like, well, already is in fact, extremely deep with regards to the unique flavor on each country. But you have to realize that what's deep about it is the Janissary barracks, as an example, is like a really good building, and you have to know why it's a good building. It's not going to be just like +5 discipline. Oh, there is an advancement for +5 discipline, by the way. I say that. There is just +5 discipline. Yeah, 2 of them, right? But like the Janissary barracks is really good. Like and you have to realize that in order to see that, yeah, Ottomans are like a militarily oriented country. The +10 discipline, advancements are fine.
They're also
like,
ages 1 and 2.
Yeah, so they're like, it's pretty insane. But I think that it's going to feel underwhelming compared to actually how truly whelming it is.
It's very whelming. I mean, I think if you drop in on Ottomans first, you'll be like, If you have the experience of playing another nation and you're looking for your manpower building, and then you have the sergeantry, and then you're like clicking, why can't I build this anywhere else?
See, I felt that I actually had that exact moment as Castile, where I was looking for manpower, and I was like, I only have a sergeantry. That's all I get. I later unlocked armories, and that fixed it. But I remember thinking like, I realized that the game kind of puts you on this path based on your country. If you don't have an early game manpower building, your country is not meant to have regulars. Whereas the Ottomans get the Bay Castle or Bay Fortress, which is like, I think it's like 5. You can only build it through the situation. You can't build it through the builder. It gives you like 5 manpower. So it is expensive, but it gives you like manpower, which in the first era is like pretty valuable because you don't really get anywhere else. So Ottomans are an example of a country whose flavor is they can have regulars pretty much right from the start, whereas most countries are not going to be having any regulars at the beginning of the game.
Where's the building for the barracks, the Janissary barracks?
The Janissary barracks.
Do you start with that? Or
the Janissary barracks is era 2 in the professional armies. I think it's near the bottom of professional armies.
Got it.
It's something like, I think it was like +15 or +20 manpower. It was like this ridiculous. Because remember, even better then. Armories are +2, or is it +5? I forget. They're less than 10. Is it 10? Okay, I don't remember now. But the point is that
less than 10 because it scales with control.
Right. Yes. Yeah. That's what it is. So it's okay. Because I was gonna say I don't remember getting 10 off of them, but you're right with the control. The point is that when I saw Janissary barracks, I was like, that's like significantly more manpower than the armory, which is the only other building the other countries, unless they also have a special building, will get. Like, oh my god.
It's also just additive. You can build armories and Janissary barracks.
You can just do both. Yes. True. Yeah. Of course. Like the point is to say that I realize, like, to me that was, that's my national ideas. That's my +33% manpower the Ottomans get in EU4 is like the Janissary barracks. But that's like communicated through like a more obfuscated means, which means people won't see it. I think there's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna think EU5 is like a flat, no flavor game, and it's like, no, you just have to look at the advancements. There's
so much differentiation, especially coming from Vic 3, where it's like Vic 3, everything is like so close to the same in terms of like you having bonuses, right? The main differentiation is actually what unique companies you have. I would say that's the strongest between strong nations. Weak nations get bonuses, and I think the design philosophy there seems like fairly straightforward, which is just like, we don't want this to be high impact. If it's on a weak nation, it's not high impact, and so they can go a little crazier with it.
Exactly, yeah. Like the reason why Montenegro can have so many sick buffs is because they're a nothing nation. That's why they can get away with that.
Which is like, in terms of balance, it's like kind of flipped on its head for EU5, because EU5, the biggest nations have the biggest stuff.
That's like EU4 though. So EU4 was the same. Where it's like all the big great powers are going to be the big great powers because they have the best ideas, they have the best missions, they have the best everything, and the small countries get nothing. And that was how it was in EU4. To me, that's like the DNA of EU5. Like, kind of is like this focus on the big countries and like the flavor being in terms of just modifier stacking. At the end of the day, EU5 is still a modifier stacking game, just like EU4 was. Very much so, in my opinion. Just modifier stacking. That's what it is.
You're currently playing Ottomans.
Yes,
and this is something we were talking about before.
During the podcast, right now, I'm playing. No,
I mean, you could be. Before we started the podcast up, this is something we were talking about. Is religion is like, and coring is like a bit of a struggle right now. I actually left a feedback post about this, but
you did. Very conveniently, I should add, because as you left it, I was experiencing what you were talking about, and I was like, "This guy's cooking.
Yeah.
He knows."
The idea
So the
is,
problem, I'll summarize the problem for
okay,
you because I want to do it. Okay, I want to be the Giga Chad for this. Okay,
Yeah.
it's so cores are generated when a location has a majority of an accepted or primary culture and a majority of your faith, right? Now the Ottomans have the dhimmi, and the whole thing of the dhimmi is that you're not supposed to like not convert people is the idea, right? Well, guess what that means is that you're never coring anything that's not like ever. You're never coring anything in the Balkans. It's all Christian. So you either just completely break the historical accuracy and just convert everyone, which takes forever, by the way. It takes a long time because conversion is a flat number. So you now in Vic 3, conversion's a percentage. It's like 0.02% of the pop every month or whatever, every week. In Vic 3, it's like 10 people, let's say, convert. And if you have 400,000 people in a location, that's going to be a long conversion time, and it's never going to core because you can't core if it's not your faith, and that doesn't make any sense because of course you should be able to core it. And I believe you're going to now talk about Delhi because Delhi has it even worse than the Ottomans do.
The Ottomans are like trying to core locations that are like 20,000 pop, and Delhi it's like 200,000. And I think I would have to play 200 years before I would core anything as Delhi.
Yes.
Which,
like these Muslim sultanates that are supposed to be like a ruling class over a non-Muslim population, like no coring. Sorry. Now you can play without cores. You don't. It's not like EU4 where without cores the place is useless to you. But to be clear, like that, it's a huge debuff to not have cores.
Control effective. And
that's really bad. Yeah.
So it's especially bad on the periphery of things.
Yeah.
And like it's very like antithetical to like. Specifically the Ottomans, like it just seems
it really targets the Ottomans.
You have all these bonuses for expansion, you have a really, really strong antagonism modifier, you have the events as part of your situation that give you free integration, and now you're just bricked. Also you start out I think with like Abrahamic communities and the dhimmi like slotted in.
It's terrible.
You actually can't convert them at all, like it's impossible.
So, I don't know why, but Abrahamic communities, which is basically the grant, remember in EU4, the state privilege where you just can't convert, it just takes a minus 100% mercenary or missionary conversion on all the dhimmi, right? So that estate privilege in EU5 takes away loyalty for some reason from the dhimmi. It's minus 10%. It probably should be plus 10%, I would guess. Okay, but it gives minus 10% estate happiness, and then plus 100% influence, but their influence is so low that it doesn't matter. But it's like it's probably bugged. It should be plus 10%.
Yeah.
But you're right that it reduces the conversion to minus 100. Let's say that it's not. Let's say they fix the bug and make it plus 10% at least. You'd never take it because you can't core.
Yeah.
And I will say, you mentioned you can't convert. If you stack enough percentage modifiers because the percentage is all additive, you can. But you're going to be converting at minus 98% or some shit. Like it's hilarious. It's terrible.
Oversimplifying for the because also negative control scales it down, and if it's not core, you're not going to have very much control. So like you have to stack a whole lot, but you can start to trickle in some conversion if you like stack a lot of it. But what it does give you is tolerance. But tolerance is kind of like a shit modifier.
Not as good as a core.
Huh?
Yeah, tolerance will never be as good as a core. It's just how it is. It's just you'd rather core.
Yeah.
What do you think of like one thing I was thinking about ways to solve this problem? What do you think of the idea of a situation for like every Muslim sultanate, we could say? You just have to find them all in the game, give them all a situation where there's a button you can click that cores stuff if you have enough tolerance, and it's like just like a part of the situation instead. Because for example, with the Ottomans, you can core Constantinople because you move your capital there, and then the event that moves your capital there also puts a core on that area. So you can do that with an event, but like it's kind of it's kind of weird.
I like the idea that you're either a nation that is intolerant and you're converting people, or you're like a tolerant society, and I think that it shouldn't matter whether or not you're Muslim.
Well, just to give it like because historically speaking, like these states are famous for being like the Muslim upper class that doesn't convert. It's like a historical precedent, right? Like Delhi is that, the Mughals were that, the Timurids were that, well, the Timurids then the Mughals, the Ottomans were like that, like so many of these examples.
Well, Yuan also is a good example.
Yeah, that too.
You start with a ton of cores, and you're not the main religion there. And like you starting with a bunch of cores is like inconsistent with like the design philosophy that you have to have over 50%. Fortunately, your cores don't get bricked, otherwise the Reformation would really suck. Can you imagine just, like, losing half your country?
Losing cores? Yeah, jeez.
Just like, bro...
I liked the idea that you mentioned in your post where you said that it should be that based on your tolerance of heretic or heathen, a different
Yeah,
percentage of the population has to be the religion. I think that makes total sense to me. Like if you have
yeah,
high enough, then literally everyone can be a core. But then if you have it super low, you have to convert a lot. I when I talked about this idea of like the conversion and assimilation in order to get cores in my impressions video, I mentioned that this is kind of like an analog for overextension in EU4, where it's like in
yeah,
EU4 to core is costing you time is what it's really costing you. Admin points are one thing, but admin points generated over time. Cores take time to be made, right? It's costing you time. In EU5, when you conquer a new place, it's not your culture, not your religion, and you can't core it. Like integrating takes time,
hmm,
but then the with cores in EU4, wrong culture, wrong faith increases coring time is like the classic thing. So I thought it was an interesting thing where right now it feels like when you conquer stuff, you're stuck with this uncored place. You can't do anything with it, and you have to either accept that it'll be uncored for like basically the entire game, or you got to set your cabinet guys to go and plus integrate it because you integrate it, but then you have to go and assimilate
yeah.
and convert it. And I was like, I realized this is basically overextension, except it's like really painful. Like it doesn't feel fun. It feels like really terrible to be sitting
It's
there with no core forever.
it's particularly bad for the Ottomans. Like
Yes, yeah,
if you open the religious map mode, like even all of Anatolia is basically not Sunni. Like
yeah,
it's
yeah,
just like the little pocket like in the middle basically.
yeah,
And so
yeah,
like even then you're still going to like you're still not going to be able to core even if you only conquer Anatolia. You have to like go for
yeah,
Arabia or the Mamluks who are like
yeah.
good luck with that.
Yeah, the
Um,
Mamluks. So I did royal marriage with the Mamluks, and I got claimed throne CBs. And I was
yeah,
always like, dude, I really want to go for it, but they're so strong. It's like insane. Like in EU4, the Mamluks are
just
stronger
merc
than
up.
Ottomans at the game start, like right at game start. But within like literally like within like 20 years, they're not anymore. Like if you're gonna play Mamluks, you gotta pounce the Ottomans right away, or else they'll come back for you. In EU5, the Mamluks will mog you for like like the first century and a half, probably. Like it's
It ends up being
crazy,
the
depending on how
same
much conquering you're
timeline
doing.
then.
Yeah, it does. It does end up
The
following the historical route to some extent, but it's just hilarious how powerful they are. It's crazy.
you could just merc up though
You
as the
can, yes,
Ottomans.
but
I'm
it's
pretty
but in
sure.
that early of the game, it's hard to get that much money. Like that's a lot of money to ask for that
The
early.
before you have professional armies, I think there's not even that many mercs.
Yeah, even
Um,
worse then.
like you, the I don't know exactly what it. I maybe have to go back over that Tinto talk, but like I don't know exactly what causes mercs to spawn. I know if you look in the east for mercs, there's like no mercs available, and you're like,
Mm.
that's interesting. So I think
Yeah,
part of it is their big manpower buildings at all, but I guess maybe the Mamluk barracks would give a ton of mercs
yeah, I guess
if
so.
that's how
Maybe
how it
they're gonna
works.
merc on you when you're trying to merc on them. You can get fucked.
Just you just gotta re-bribe them back. You try to merc on
Dude,
me,
the mercs are selling picks and shovels, man.
motherfucker.
There's like, I swear, like there's all this war happening, and the mercs are making all the money on these wars, bro.
It's almost
It's
like
crazy.
that's a good simulation.
Yeah, it is. No,
We're
of
back in
course.
Italy. That's
Yeah, I
that's
wish
a,
there were more affordable mercs though. It feels like very expensive to get even a small stack of
it's
mercs. It's a
1.5
lot.
times the recruitment cost, but honestly, there's so many
Yeah.
percentage modifiers. If you stack those things,
Mm.
I think it gets cheaper than recruiting troops. And then
Interesting.
you
Yeah.
you recruit all the for your regulars that you're using alongside mercs. You you use like all troops with low initiative, and then with the mercs you use all high initiative
High
guys.
initiative, yeah.
So
So they
they'll
take
get
the
it
losses.
first.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they take the
Yeah.
heavy losses.
Smart. Very smart. Yeah, I
Um,
could totally see like a bunch of like Merc crossbowmen from like Italy. See, this is again the role play in my head.
yeah,
Merc crossbow guys from Italy with high initiative, backed up by Janissaries in the back rank with low initiative.
yeah, yeah.
It's like I love that again. See, I love that like this imagery. I want when things make sense. I love it. But to be clear, with EU5, if they don't make sense, it's not that big of a deal. But I do want more of that because things in Vic 3 I feel like often make sense, and that's going to be a controversial take. But things often like fit. It feels like in Vic 3.
Three is generally
You
more
know
grounded. I think the
exactly. Yeah.
um, EU5 is just doing way more things than Vic 3, and so it's
Yeah.
more complicated. But Vic 3 has like
Yeah.
more depth in that everything's connected. Like
Yes.
when you construct a building, you're buying the construction goods and you're paying the workers. There's no wages in EU5, and when you construct
Yeah.
something in EU5, you just pay like flat ducats. and then it creates buy orders for the building materials in the market, but those buy order, the number of goods that get purchased is completely dissociated from the actual building you're constructing. Yeah, and the price you paid. Yeah. Because
you pay the price right away, and then if the goods change during the construction, you don't pay any more ducats.
Yep.
So.
And not only that, but like if you have a discount, it looks like you're purchasing like less stuff. If you're, have you had Winters yet?
No, I haven't played anywhere that has winter yet. Hilariously enough, I've not played anywhere that has winter.
It'll pause construction, right?
Oh, okay, cool.
While construction is paused, it still buys all the material goods.
That's hilarious. That's so good. Yeah, it's so funny.
Also, if you have a shortage, like if you're producing a university but you don't have enough books,
it'll
classic
still eat masonry. Happens to everyone.
It'll still eat masonry and glass in perpetuity from your market. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so good.
It's just like free stimulus, or like with my Portugal run, it was incredibly painful because I had these unis that could not complete. So masonry in my market was super jacked up in price, and I wanted masonry to come down in price to build the books so that I could complete the universities.
Yeah,
it's like
that's really funny. Yeah, that's really funny. No, that's definitely the arcadey feel that I mean, where it's fast and loose. Like there are oversights, you could call them, but it's more just that the game doesn't care to simulate that. Like that's more what the thing is, right? Like it's not necessarily that the game is bugged or flawed because of these things. It's that's not the focus. That's not what they're looking at. It's just whatever.
There's a system for input goods, right? You create buy orders from when you're building stuff, and having cheap inputs makes this thing cheaper. There's a system. It's just not as grounded as like Vic 3's.
Exactly. It's just simpler.
Yeah. Yep. Except for the fact that Vic 3, you can use construction in London to build in Ethiopia.
Yeah, classic.
Which, obviously, is... strange.
And of course that terrain has absolutely no effect on market access whatsoever, so you can use your London construction to build in Colorado at the same price as New York. Yeah. Well, actually, New York gets the harbor, so plus 5%, but in Virginia then, Virginia and Colorado have the same expenses, and it's like, I don't know about that. I don't know. The Rockies are tough. The Rockies are a harsh place. I don't know.
It's like roads make a huge difference what you're building over. It takes forever to build a road over a mountain.
Roads are so expensive, and in real life and in the game. In EU5, roads are so expensive and so important.
Not
and it's like
it's going to be the fattest noob trap.
Yes, because one thing is because you look at it, you're like, oh, like what proximity, like whatever,
20.
I don't care. And then you realize that proximity, and then suddenly you're building every bit of money you have goes towards them. By the way, noob trap for Ottomans again. You cannot build a road for Constantinople across the strait. So once you go to Constantinople, you have to hope you have a good natural harbor in Anatolia, and if you don't, you're fucked. You're done if you don't have a good natural harbor. And the only good one is in the Aydinids, the Beylik to the southwest. The only good one is there. Bursa is like 10% natural harbor. Okay. It's like nothing. It's so bad. It's so bad.
I have a sneaking suspicion that if they're making natural harbors really important, they're going to take another look at some things.
They really need to, just for the Ottomans, because of how many people will play it. That particular country desperately needs, when I was doing Holland. When I was doing Holland, okay, you have Antwerp and you have London, and that was perfect because Antwerp is high natural harbor, London's high natural harbor. If you're doing France into England, you have like Cotentin, like the one in Normandy. That's a good natural harbor too. So like you have options. With the Ottomans, there's actually like no good harbor between Anatolia and Constantinople. It's like awful.
Yeah.
It needs to be changed because the country, when you move the capital of Constantinople, you're actually killing yourself. Like legitimately,
yeah.
But you do it because you have to. I mean, are you gonna not do it?
There's a few like really noob trappy like things like that, like the food in Holland.
Yes, the food in Holland. Oh yes. So, quick thing, okay, in EU5, you cannot starve. What happens if you're out of food is the government will come in, okay, daddy government, okay, the Democrats. They come in and they buy all the food for all the people. Okay, I'm sorry. They come in and they buy food for everyone, and you're gonna pay for it. Not Mexico. No, I'm sorry. I'm trumping. Okay. You're gonna pay for it, okay? And it's really expensive. It's so expensive, in fact, that you might be spending more than your gross total income in your entire nation on food if you're not careful, as the Netherlands or as Holland, I guess, because there's like apparently no food there unless you build it because the AI doesn't know how important it is.
Yeah,
So yeah, you're done. It's
the changes to
no
food
good.
being important are relatively new. So generally speaking,
Yeah.
any change that's new that AI is going to struggle with. Right now, they're
Yeah.
struggling with Parliament. I think,
Yeah, they keep civil warring themselves
yeah,
by clicking all the parliament buttons. Yeah. It's
or not
pretty
having a
pretty
Parliament.
sad.
That's another
Yeah, yeah,
cause.
that too,
Because they'll
yeah.
just
I've
run
seen
up
that.
infinite negative approval if they like
Yeah.
decide that hosting one's a bad idea.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious from a perspective of like players, why would you ever not host one? I feel like they're pretty much always like just kind of
Uh,
good.
Timing. Sometimes you would want the Parliament a little bit
Sure.
later.
Like delay a year then, I don't know, sure, but
Yeah, a few months
it's
or something like this.
yeah.
Like you might want to host it after you have a war. I don't know if you have like a war exhaustion one, or like a support ongoing war. I imagine you get to re-roll all your parliaments if you finish up the war. So if the war is like 2 months from ending, and you don't like the
Yeah.
parliament debate choices, you're probably supposed to wait something like that. Generally, you're not
I
supposed to.
guess
Yeah,
I will say, I
it
guess
is niche.
Parliament does increase cost of court.
It
So
does.
maybe you're trying to
So if
avoid
your
that.
legitimacy is coming up, there's an argument
Yeah.
for it. I
Yeah.
like to slot in like early game. I like to slot in, um, what is it? Privileges like when I'm doing
Yep.
Parliament because of the estate satisfaction
Yep.
coming up faster. But
Smart.
technically, that is going to be shooting myself in the foot
Suboptimal.
on
Yeah,
the.
because your cost of court is up. Yeah.
Yeah, in theory, I should do it a little bit after, or I think you should. In theory, you should do privileges 1 year before or something to give yourself time to
Yeah.
get the legitimacy back up. But
Yeah,
then
no,
still
ain't
benefit
nobody got
from
time
the
for that, bro.
satisfaction. No,
You
no,
know
it's
my
clearly
heuristic for
playing that
clicking
up to me.
Parliament is when the flag at the top appears, I click it. That's when I do Parliament. I don't even think about it. I
Yeah,
just do it like
I
immediately.
think just always doing it as soon as it's up is probably reasonable. But like, if you're
Yeah.
specifically looking for cases where you shouldn't, there
Yeah.
are some. I mean, so technically, I think when it pops up, you should maybe acquire a little bit of inflation so you can roll the inflation
Yes.
Parliament.
I've been doing that actually.
So-
Yeah, I slide the bar up. You mentioned that in passing at some point. I don't think I was talking to you. So you mentioned it in the server, and I just was like, oh, let me just
Yeah.
copy that. So I've been doing, and what I do now, especially if I know I'm about to go into debt, like sometimes you get an event with an expense, and it'll give you a loan. I quickly bump up minting to avoid the loan because I'd rather take 0.4, let's say, percent inflation that I can get back down pretty fast than a loan with the interest rate. Because I don't know if that's actually better, but I find that to be better in
The
most
crown
cases
power
in my
malice.
playthrough.
You know that each loan has a crown power malice.
I know. That's why I'd rather
Yeah.
put the minting up for like 1 month and then put it back down to avoid the loan, right? That's what I'd rather do. So I'm doing that a lot lately. Is like suddenly minting, or when I'm putting legitimacy up and like I might end up in negative income. I quickly throw the minting up because I'd rather take let's say 5% inflation over the course of the time putting legitimacy up than having to take loans, because loans hurt your crown power, as you
Yeah.
mentioned, and that's really bad. And the interest, which is also not good to be paying. So
No,
it's
the
mint. I kind of like the minting like meta where it's like you just sliding it wherever you want it to go. It's
quick little
fun.
bump,
It's,
get you through the day.
yeah, yeah, it's nice. It's like doing a little, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
just
yeah.
gets through the day. Yeah, you pay the consequences later, but who cares about later? It's
So it's what you need to get by.
yeah. Although to be honest with you, like I found, so as the Ottomans, I've been doing the thing. I put minting up during war to keep my war chest full, I guess you could say. It is kind of helpful because the army costs money, but also it's like I'm role playing a little bit. I'm minting more for the
Sure,
war.
yeah.
I find that very rarely am I regretting that. Like I just, let's say I hit 8% inflation because of that. Well, I'll just put the minting to like minus 0.05 and then just wait, and then it won't build anything. I still have all that money. It's not like I just wait till inflation's gone, then I start building again. And it's like, okay, a slight delay in my building.
It's probably just that
Like
neutral.
technically it's bad because it means I get the buildings out later, so they have less time to return their investment, like technically. But I don't know, it's like such a small,
Well, so
I don't
the
really
thing
care
is,
much.
the thing that it doesn't scale up is your sliders in terms of cost. I think it might
Yeah.
scale up your building maintenance costs, though. I'm not sure. I haven't taken a close
I think
look
it
at
does. I think so.
that. So
It should anyway. I feel like inflation should just be all
well,
expenses, probably.
a lot
but-
of things, it's like, well, it should do this, but then it doesn't necessarily do. The,
It's an arcadey game.
yeah.
Yeah.
But in terms of the level of grounding, like
Yeah.
yeah. Well, like also. Someone should be paying for the rest of the 80% of the goods that a building
It really should be.
consumes,
It really should be.
and it should just
Well,
be
you
free.
see, they should, but like,
but
They
like,
don't.
even if you
Like,
just put that in part of the estates pick up the tab. The thing though is eventually you would have like especially with getting rid of the nobles eating more goods than they get paid. Like, I do think that there's periods where your economy just like mega stalls out. Like before you build your first workshop, I feel that like almost everything is like 0 for me in terms of productivity. To be fair, I could go conquer more stuff, but like it's like
that's the answer to that problem. By the way, is just conquer more.
I fully built out enough to support my market, and I fully built out enough to support every other market within trade range of me.
That's a lot, yeah.
And
Jeez.
so, like, and then the workshops come in, and it's like the extra efficiency, and then it's like, we spin it back up, and then like, the thing is the like on a per slot basis or a per like location basis, workshops are just like the math doesn't like when you look at the PM, you're like, that's barely better, but then like when you consider everything all together, it's like actually like 3x.
For sure.
Income.
And the reason why I think that's okay that it's a bit obscure, like it doesn't immediately show, is because you feel it when you build them. Like even if you don't realize how good it is, once you get to that era and you start putting them down, it's undeniable how powerful they are. You might not even realize that it's truly like 10 times better, but you're gonna feel like, wow, my income just like doubled or tripled or whatever, and it's like, okay. Because I'll tell you this, when I looked at workshops, I only had your word to go on that they were insanely good. I was kind of just like, okay, it's a better building. And then I built them and I was like, okay, it's obviously a better building. Holy shit, like, I'm feeling it. So it doesn't, to me, that's one example of the inverse effect of the community having backlash about national ideas being hidden away. Is like, well, this is actually more complicated than it looks like, but no one's going to care because they just see the number go up and they just take it. It's going to be a positive, I think, is how it'll go. But I mean, we'll see. Some people might also not like that it's so hard to figure this stuff out. Like you got to have a Vic 3 brain to see like these implications of each building impacting the whole economy. It's very Vic 3 brain.
To be fair, if you just want to map paint, you could kind of just ignore the economics and just like
Yeah, I mentioned I made what I believe to be a smart comparison in my comparison to EU4 for EU5, which is that in EU4 a world conquest is the correct choice unless you break to rebels. In terms of getting the most power is like just conquer the world and don't break to rebels. In EU5, conquering the world is like a thing you can do, but you're probably not using your money efficiently. You're better off making buildings in many cases. That's like it's that you can still conquer the world, but you won't be playing meta anymore. You'll be off meta if you're conquering the world. Unlike in, I guess, I'm going to say Vic 3, but in Vic 3, even conquering the world is kind of meta too, but that's like another topic. In EU4, conquering the world is definitely meta.
Between conquering stuff and like actually building a ton of construction, it's still building a ton of construction. Like if it's an either or thing. But like, to some extent, EU5 is kind of like that too, where like, you should be expanding with subjects. And like eventually you're going to integrate them, and like it just isn't good until a certain period of time, or like this type of thing. But it's
the point is that people worry that EU5 is going to be like, no, war is useless, there's no point. It's just that sometimes building will be more useful than war, but war is not going to really hurt you. I mean, it could if you go way too much expansion. You have no control
directly, and then like now your diplo cap gets pressured by having subjects. I think there's definitely spots where it hurts you, but like I mean, it lowers your crown power. That's like the biggest thing.
That's the big thing. The big thing is lowering the crown power, increasing the economic base without increasing the tax base. That's also a problem because you're going to have like more.
The economic base won't go up very much unless you're increasing the tax base.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you're going to have more cost of court when you're expanding, and it's going to that's going to drain your income, and the crown power goes down.
It's going to scale linearly with your tax base, though. Like, to the extent that you're getting it into the tax base, you're just not going to add much to the tax base, though. But then, like, the crown power goes down, and so, like, you're...
That's the bigger problem, is the crown power, Yeah. So, so like when you're doing like some world conquest campaign, like you probably can still get away with it, but you just got to be a little smart about how you do it, and maybe think about you got to have like a couple locations that can be so supercharged in their economic output they can outweigh the fact that you're losing your crown power, you're losing you're gaining more stuff.
You're paying to carry the paint you've put on the map.
Exactly. Yes. Exactly. And later on in the game, as you get more advancements that can give you more proximity bonuses, and you can sort of the game I think encourages you to later on get wider and wider because you have more means by which to increase your proximity. exactly. The railroad. I haven't gotten far enough to unlock railroads, but I assume once you do, proximity becomes a joke. Like it just railroads everywhere, and it's super good.
I think in theory it's like you're supposed to just keep expanding, because well, like the it's so spiky. I wish it was less spiky with regards to the roads. I wish there was like, and same with
like 2 or 3 more tiers of road, maybe.
Yeah, well, just double.
Yeah.
It's not just roads, but also units. Like, so when you go to the next
units
stage,
for sure. Totally agree with units. It's crazy.
They just double in power level. When you go from like an age 2 unit, the regular infantry, they're like
men at arms or whatever. Yeah,
they're gonna have 200 men per level, and then you go to age 3 and it's 400, and this doubles like the power of the unit.
Yeah,
and
it's
like
insane.
I would much rather it be like plus 50%, and then some incremental way you get that other 50%. And same with roads. I wish roads was like a lot smoother a thing.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of don't like how army power is just like the number of men in the unit. Because I remember I was looking at the stats and I was like, these guys will have the same stats. Oh, it's that there's twice as many of them. I don't know. I don't really like that system personally. Like in EU4, the way that like I get what they're simulating is that as time goes on, armies get bigger. Like that makes total sense to me. In EU4, that was simulated by just development getting bigger, so you had more base manpower, so you had more force limit, and that was like the simulation of armies getting larger over time. In EU5, it's that new tech is not better stats; it's more men in the unit. That's the new tech is.
The
it's
stats start getting a little better too. Like in Age 4, infantry go up to 2 combat strength, and then like I think in the final age they're like 3, and then like cannons go up to 6. Something like this, but cavalry stays 4 the entire time. But cavalry has half as many guys as infantry, so it's half as powerful.
It's hard to read is the problem, I think. Like it's more of maybe a UI issue. It's hard to read.
Is if the combat power was actually multiplied by the size of the unit.
Yeah,
that would be way more like legible for, especially for a new player.
Because when I was first playing,
you're like, this unit is exactly the same.
When I was just starting playing, I was like, I was like, how are these even upgrades? And then you told me, I think, like, oh, it's because there's more men in them. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, I see.
They should just multiply it out for you.
Yeah, they really should. Like, not because people aren't smart enough to do it, but because you wouldn't think to do it. You just, like, you look at it and you see the same stats. And because my brain didn't gravitate to the manpower number, it gravitated to the stats. Power, and they were the exact same. And I'm like, I saw the initiative on the archers, so I picked the archers, and that was, because initiative is really good. Initiative is, like, insane, because in the early game, armies are small enough that you can finish the battle in a couple hours, like, literally, like, a couple hours in game. And that means initiative just wins, because you just win the battle before the frontline guys can get there. Later on, though, I found that with bigger armies, as battles get longer, initiative falls off a little more, at least in my experience.
It used to fall way off when there was
a
bug that I thought was WOD. And I had, like... I did a lot of theory crafting, let's say, on the, like, optimal way to do the army, and thinking that this was WOD, and that it's just a bug. Which is...
It's so funny. Yeah.
Like, oh, well, there goes that.
No issue.
It's like, It was just a bug. That, to be fair, with that bug... The strategy was to overstack your fronts by a lot, and it just invalidated initiative, and initiative was useless. Now it's not going to be like that, but it still falls off. Especially,
do you know one funny thing about the army has this thing called frontage, right?
Yeah.
So I was trying to think of frontage is like a new concept, right? And I was looking at all the Paradox games to find games that have what frontage is. Did you know that in March of the Eagles, the most obscure Paradox game out there, they call it frontage? Like that's like the term. That's the concept in the game.
Isn't frontage just like combat width, but asymmetric combat width?
Yes. So it's the same thing as combat width, more or less, but it's called frontage. Yeah, and I was like, wow. I was like, I've never seen this word frontage before. We don't call it that, dude. In March of the Eagles, it's called that. And I realized that when I was, as a joke for my video, I took some footage of March of the Eagles to say, and now we're going to compare the game to March of the Eagles, because that's also an important game in the Paradox community. And as a joke, I did that, and then I saw just mousing over stuff. It's like, oh, frontage. The units also use frontage, and I was like, wow, that term has been resurrected from this like ancient forgotten game.
I wonder if
for this game.
Is frontage asymmetric in March of the Eagles?
Dude, I didn't fucking play the game. Are you kidding me? I launched it and recorded for like 2 seconds and then closed it.
EU4, the combat width is the same for both sides, right? Always?
Yeah.
That's how it works?
Yeah.
Okay. Because the frontage can vary depending on if you have like bonuses or not. I'm still trying to think of whether or not quality or quantity is better. I think frontage is just a super cracked modifier, but you can get it in a couple spots.
You were there when I was quality maxing, and I did that reform that gave +5 discipline and plus capital economy.
Yes,
it was
that's
like
crazy good. But is there
like that reform alone makes quality better? I don't know if there's reform for quantity. Then maybe there was. I didn't see it, but that reform for quality is crazy.
Frontage. The thing is,
then it's probably better.
However much discipline you can acquire, like normally, if that number is bigger than the amount of frontage you can acquire, you want the frontage thing. And if it's smaller, then you want the discipline thing, probably.
Yeah.
Am I fuzzy?
I don't know. For me, you're a little fuzzy. But for me right now, when it comes to winning wars, I mostly just try to win off of like initiative in the sense of the stat and also in the sense of like how I play.
It's real good on the Ottomans.
Get to the forts, assault them before they can do anything, and then just like rush them down, just occupy them really quickly. It works like really well, I find. Even in my Holland against England game, when I was doing Holland invading England, just get the forts, like just rush them down, like just it works surprisingly well. And to be fair, on that patch with Holland, it was because all the forts were always on no maintenance because the AI was really dumb. On the current patch though, these forts still have half maintenance most of the time. So I'm losing like, let's say I have an army of like 16,000. I'm losing like 1,000 men every assault. So like on the Mamluks, I'd be killing myself basically because they would probably just wait till I assault too much and then I die. But against most countries, EU5 is a very fractured state kind of game. There's a lot of countries who you can win the war within like 20 days. Well, within the time it takes to be able to send a diplomat again, because you have to wait a month to send in a diplomat. Because you can get on their only fort, assault it, rush down their one army, stack wipe it, and then you win. And it's like,
earlier on, at least. As time goes on.
Yeah, early on. Yes.
I wonder. I'm trying to. I would hate to lose. I hate losing guys to assaulting, just because like
it feels bad, thing. But like they're levies, bro. They're just levies. Like you have you got a lot of peasants around.
Laborers.
Yeah, but like
they have
it's okay.
Families. Where's the RP?
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. I guess not.
Jesus. Where they're going, they won't need a family. No, I mean for me, it's that I often have leftover peasants in most of my places, so I'm like, okay, whatever. Just like in Vic 3, okay, like you de-peasant pretty consistently if you're playing the game somewhat competently. In EU5, I doubt you'll ever de-peasant. Okay, you're not de-peasanting your whole country in EU5.
The value at a certain point is that they give you more a higher building cap, or like a max cap. So it's not even that they're working; it's that they're pushing up the cap of the number.
Okay, I didn't even know that. You know what? I didn't know that, but just because I don't want to admit that I'm wrong, I'm still going to throw them into assaulting fortresses.
You need to play one game in like India, and then you'll be like, oh, I understand. It's like or just play Egypt, and you're like, oh, I can build 40 armories in the capital. This is insane. And it's like, oh, I can build 10 Mamluk barracks here.
I had that effect when I conquered London as Holland. So Holland has like dirt population. I conquered London. There's like 250,000 people there, and I'm just like, wow, this place will now this city is now going to be 25% of my tax base because I'm going to build like everything in there. And you're right that that's because the building limit from all the peasants. That makes sense.
But not just your economies of scale bonus.
Yeah.
Like increases the profitability of that building by like 20% or something relative to in Den Haag. And then London's not even big. You want big, go to Cairo.
For me, London was gigantic, okay, because my biggest city was like Den Haag with like 90,000 people in it. Like, oh wow, big city. And then I go to London, 250,000, just and that's like the low end. It's like I'm looking at the bar of the pop cap, and it's like, oh, it's like this much of the pop cap is full. You can go up to like this much.
I want to see PvP so badly because I think it's going to very quickly like show like what's like really really strong, and it's going to be like. Places with a lot of pops don't care about your text, bro. Like,
because one thing is that I'm noticing. This happens to me like every game I play. Is like I just build in the capital, and like the place is right around the capital because of control. market access in many cases. Usually you have, if you're playing a big country, your market's probably where your capital is, but not always. But like, it's really good to do that, which means that having a big population in your one big capital city is like really strong.
Yeah.
Like it's really, really strong. So like when I'm playing as like the Ottomans, for example, everything is in Bursa and Constantinople, because Bursa was my first capital, and then Constantinople was my second capital. And it's like, yep, everything's in there. As Spain, everything's in Sevilla. I know. Like I think about, oh, I should develop like Sivas, right? It's a city in the east, and it's got a bunch of Armenians in it, which we'll fix in the future. But I'm thinking like, let me go develop over there, right? But it's like, why would I do that? There's no control here. I could spend a cabinet member for the rest of his life increasing control here if I want to, but that's a whole cabinet being wasted.
Yeah.
So EU5 is a game where, until the much later game where you maybe start to like get more proximity bonuses, you just, it's just about playing the capital. Like that's all you play. It feels like. Except RGOs. The RGOs you still
the RGOs specifically for trade or as input. Well, I guess that's mainly what they are: trade or input goods. Well, actually, that's not. Sometimes they just get consumed, and for that, they're not producing much value.
I just find it very. I just find it like it's got that gameplay loop. To me is sort of. It's interesting because it's the beginning phase of the game is like that, which kind of makes sense. A lot of places are very much focused on like just one location, but later on in the game, as Holland, I got to like the fifth era, so like near like 1700s ish, and by then I had control pretty high across most of my empire,
Holland's
and I was building everywhere. Everywhere I was building, like I was building across the whole thing, and I was like, oh, this is like what happens like. Kind of historically, I guess. I don't know much about the history, but we're creating more of a decentralized economy because we have more means by which to transport goods and stuff, right? It simulates the move into Victoria 3, where suddenly you have like goods moving from all around the world into wherever they need to go. It was interesting. I found it like very very compelling to see the game, like the world evolve in that way of like from local, very, very local tiny economies into these big imperial globe spanning economies.
Have you read Wealth of Nations or like any bit of it?
I have actually, yes. I did a book report on it in grade 12 as a joke.
That's a big one for...
For quick context, we were supposed to read like a novel. And I went to my teacher. I was in AP English because I was a nerd. Yeah. And I was like, dude, can I do Wealth of Nations? And he was like, if you want to, but you're supposed to do like a book, like a novel with like a story. And he was like, but he's like, you know what? Like, he's like, go ahead. And I was like, okay. So then I talked about like the cost of nails and shit, and like horseshoes.
The cost of nails in the lowlands.
yeah.
It's like
exactly.
I have like a version of it. It's like 500 pages, but it's uber fine print. So like normal, like kind of what is it? I don't even know the term.
The font
normal
size?
Typography. A normal typographical like layout, it'd be like an 800-page book, but Smith goes on and on about nails and the Netherlands.
Yes, he does. He loves nails. He loves the Netherlands. Yeah.
And the basic idea is that because stuff is so easy to, the only reason you get specialization is because stuff is easy to ship around, and then when you have specialization, one dude making nothing but nails, boy, can he make a lot of nails.
For sure. Big advantage of trade or whatever. What is it? I forgot the term now. I forgot my book report, but there's a term for it.
Advantage?
Comparative advantage. Yes, that's what I was going for. Yeah, that's a big comparative advantage when you produce one thing but a ton of it.
Yep. And then you get a lot out of specialization. Yeah. So the Netherlands definitely. I think that like Control is like representing that to some degree, but I think that they're like, I would like to see another system where there's like another layer where it's like friction to develop, like I guess it's market access, but it like
but that one's like you just move the market capital, bro.
Yeah, I guess I would like to see market access be a lot more dynamic than what it is. I think because right now like or like in Vic 3 you kind of get it like with like Mappy and like bigger and bigger trade bonuses and this type of thing. But right now in EU5 there's like, or now there's a third thing, but functionally there's like two things that affect market access. There's roads and there's rivers.
Yes.
And
that's it, yeah.
Now there's you don't want to push market over water at all, but now harbor capacity does affect it a little bit if you're going to do that, but you don't want to do that. Like, if you're in London, you want a London market, and then across in the Netherlands, you want a Netherlands market.
Antwerp market or something, I guess, I understand.
You don't want to have, like, the London market being pushed over the water.
Yeah.
But, and so, like, what you want is, I think the word's estuary. You just want, like, markets on the estuaries because they push up river really, really well. And so, that's, like, the play pattern.
No, it makes sense. I mean, I hope that the maritime presence stuff, like the naval aspects, kind of become more impactful. And also that I hope they just kind of add, like, just put more, like, natural harbors around it. It feels like some places have a lot and other places have, like, none. And maybe there's historicity to it. Like, it could be that like, I don't know. Maybe historically, when the Ottomans moved the capital to Constantinople,
obviously.
Yeah, of course. But maybe historically, when the Ottomans moved the capital to Constantinople, it did result in, like, a loss of significant control in Anatolia. But I suspect that no, it didn't. I don't think that's true. There must have been a way to move goods from Constantinople to Anatolia and not through a port on the other side of Anatolia. Okay, there must have been a way.
The straits also maybe should get, because the Anatolia has a strait, right?
Yes, it does. Yeah, straight you can walk it with troops, but you can't road, so you can't do a.
You can't road, but if straits worked a little bit different, it would be fine too.
Yeah, I'd like it if the movement from, like, let's say Constantinople to the place directly across the strait, I don't remember its name, if that had, like, 100% like proximity bonus, something like that. I don't know, some sort of massive proximity bonus for being just a straight across.
The way rivers work is rivers work like roads, basically, where going downstream is 30 proximity and going upstream is 10. And so if they just made it like a river or make it function like a river where it's just like 30, then like you'd be able to get control back into Anatolia pretty well. The problem is you're just paying 40, right? Or 40 plus minus your bonuses. But that's so much proximity to pay to just cross over.
It is. Yeah, I mean, if one thing that I could see being kind of bad for the game's health is that proximity is so central to everything. Like, it feels like, so in EU4, admin efficiency is, like, everything. Like, you always want admin efficiency for, like, coring costs down is always amazing, development costs down, like, all these, there are certain modifiers that are just universal. For EU5, it's proximity cost. That's, like, the universal, you need this, like, always, like, it's just,
that
it's
might
insane.
Be that's up there with, like, this, there's, like, 3 candidates for strongest modifiers, and that's up there.
Yeah. There's, like, base control across your whole nation, like the Ottomans used to have, is also going to be one of them, if any other country even has it. That's, like, the number one. But proximity is basically that. If you just have to, you have to just translate it through a couple things, but it ends up being that, more or less.
I mean, I think I'm okay with that, because, like, I don't know, if you study the rise and fall of empires, like...
Yeah, logistics is everything.
Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah,
and, like, the only reason Rome was able to do what it did was because roads, and it's all on the Mediterranean. And the only reason why, like, the Mongols could do what they did is because
the Silk Road.
Horses.
Horses.
Silk Road too, but like, effectively their logistical distance was not by man, but it was by, like, horse. So it's just dramatically, like.
No, true. Yeah, I think if that's gonna be the case, though, there needs to be way more in the tutorial. Okay, there's got to be way more emphasis put on how important the roads are, because the tutorial mentions roads, and you build a road as part of the tutorial, but it needs to be like, by the way, this is, like, everything. This is, like, I don't know. I don't know if tutorial should teach meta. Like, I get that that's, like, maybe a meta teaching, but, like, people are not going to realize how good proximity is unless they dive into the tooltips, if no one tells them anyway. Even
if you're diving into the tooltips, like, it's... Every time I've been talking about roads and, like, I'm talking to, like, audience or whatever, I just, like, say, however good you think roads are, they're better. And,
yes,
like,
they are.
And I've been saying this to, like, creators who ask for, like, help or whatever at the game, because I've helped out, like, a few people now who are like, I don't understand the economics. And, like, the first thing is, like, however good you think roads are, they're just better. Like,
yeah, they are. When you unlock the next road tech, it's like Christmas. It's like the most amazing thing ever. Yeah,
someone
exactly.
Give me a towel.
I think I made the same face that you made when I said that. I think I made the exact same face when I was playing Holland, and I unlocked the second tier of roads, and I was like,
bro,
whoa.
So good.
This is an insane power spike. Like, it's insane.
Insane power spike on the country that, like, roads are actually probably the least useful on. as
Yes,
well.
because I already had like 50-ish control across even the furthest parts of my empire,
Yeah,
Westphalia.
because
I didn't have like as the Ottomans. I'm this massive empire. I can only imagine how insane it's going to be to get a new tier of road all the way to
the
Sivas.
also
It's
like
be
you're
crazy.
pushing like maritime a lot for like your a lot of your proximity. Like roads, I
Yeah,
guess, are worse on Portugal, but they're still insane on Portugal.
yeah.
Just like
They're just not as insane on Portugal. They're still insane though. They're
yeah,
just a little. They're
no,
just a
like
little less insane.
roads are
Yeah.
um like land versus naval proximity debate. Like well, first of all, like it's not an either or. Like you just use both. They're
Yeah.
both just features of
Yeah. Of course.
infrastructure.
Yeah.
But like roads are just like so much stronger than like any type of like naval propagation. Like
Yeah.
and it's like
Unfortunately.
not close.
Yeah.
Which isn't to say that naval's not great or that you don't go naval values. It's just like roads actually push market access too, like a
Yeah.
huge amount. So, and they're like the only thing that does.
They're pretty damn good. They're pretty damn good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do
I
wish
guess.
that there was like twice as many road techs though.
Yeah. That way there'd be less spiking because it's just
Yeah,
such an insane spike. I will say I kind of like in Victoria 3 when you unlock dynamite and you put it on all your mines and it's like
yeah.
an insane spike. I kind of do like those spikes sometimes, but it's bad for the balance of the game. Is the It makes the
The
game not
dynamite
as like
spike would still
simplistic.
be smaller than the road spike if the road spike
Yes,
was half as much.
I know, it is truly insane. But like when I play Victoria 3, I get dynamite and I'm like, oh yeah, like it's
Like
we're gonna blow this economy, literally. And I like those in a way, but with EU5, there are way too many power spikes. Like the units, like you mentioned, the ships,
yeah.
the roads, the workshops, like it just it's a bit
In
much.
general, I
Bit
wish it
much.
was just smoother. Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, maybe that's bad for a new player. Like, just because like you get more immediate and robust feedback
Yeah.
from a thing if it's
Well,
bigger.
if you're a new player, right? So one thing I mentioned in the impression video about the picking your tech in the tech tree. This will be related, trust me.
Yeah,
Is like let's say that you're playing a nation you've never researched anything naval, and then you suddenly decide you need a navy, so you research the newest boat, and you're like, well, now my boat is the newest, most modern ship. It's like yes, you're on par with the other nations, but the nations that did research those other boats, they took all the intermediary techs that were like bonus navy morale, bonus like
yeah,
navy maintenance down, right? The roads could be like that, where it's like, oh, like there's like 16 roads and each of them is a small increment. But I
yeah,
think people then won't notice how strong they are, and in fact, it might make it even worse for new players who are gonna be like, oh, dude, this road's only like
yeah,
-2% proximity cost, like whatever, and they don't build it. But if they had built up all 5 tiers of it, it would have been like 30% or something like that, whatever, right? Like
yeah.
I think that the spikes are interesting because they help tutorialize in a way, but they do make the balance weird where it's like you're gunning for that road tech the second you can get it because it's so insane.
Yeah, like there's like 4 techs that are just insane, and was that age 4? Was that age 3?
I don't
That's
remember.
age 3, I think.
I gotta play a couple more dozen to 100 to a couple hundred hours to remember all of this stuff like so
I
particularly.
think it's age 3. There's like 3 or 4 techs at age 3 that are just like
Yeah.
this is the one.
The
Well,
there's the one for paper, like the paper that makes the paper building that's like better. Not rag paper, but like the next level of building, the
yeah,
workshop or
the
whatever it
workshop.
is.
Yeah, yeah,
That one is like so good. Like because paper is so nice to have, and then you get the workshop for it. And I think you unlock it if I remember right. The workshops for like fine cloth come a little bit later than
they're
the
age
paper
4,
workshop.
and the
Yeah.
paper
Yes.
and
Okay.
books are
Yeah.
age 3.
It's three
Also,
exactly.
age 3 is weaponry and naval supplies, but as a
Yeah.
proportion of your economy, weapons and naval supplies is relatively low. So
Yeah.
like this is also something that's like kind of out of whack. Vic 3 just in general, like the overall balancing of like goods inside the market and proportion like the overall balancing seems a lot more spread out. Like where
Yeah.
you have tools, you have clothing, you have furniture, you have they seem to occupy a much more level percentage of the total purchasing in a market, whereas like EU5 like is super heavy on like books and fine cloth basically.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
those two together occupy like a very, very large share. To be fair, tools in Vic 3 is just like enormous as well.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
like the one really big standout in Vic 3 in terms of total
Yeah.
buy orders in the market.
Yeah. Oftentimes, like tools and iron, like this, the resource of iron and coal as well, steel.
Yeah.
These sorts of resources will just be like if you sort by sell orders on your market, they'll always be like right near the top. Yeah.
Yeah. And like
It's crazy.
it feels like most of the workshops don't feel like power spikes, but just like the top 5 do. Basically,
Yeah, a couple
I
of them
think
do.
tools, the cloth, fine cloth, and books and paper feel like the biggest
Yeah.
spikes.
The big thing with books too is that I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the books in the beginning of the game are clergy owned, but when you get book
Yes,
workshops, they become burgher owned,
that is
and
correct.
that's really important because now you actually can tax them. Well, at least as Catholics, I know Muslims can do
Well,
taxes on the ulema, but
uh, the way that it works is it's not they don't own the building. They just like add to the tax. Like all the funds of all the buildings get pooled, and then they get split based on the pops in there. So
yeah,
if you it does pull down the amount of pops that are clergy that are pulling money, but they get a
yeah,
much smaller distribution anyways. So
right,
they're
yeah.
they're not as
The point is that
robustly.
now you're making books with
Yeah,
burgers, and that is an
it's
important difference. Is
preferable.
that now?
Yeah,
Yeah, it is exactly. So that's a double power spike in ways that it's a better building and it's got better ownership or better investors, I don't know,
yeah.
whatever you want to call them. I think of them as owners like in Vic 3, but
I think
yeah,
it's so fun. Currently, you don't really get rewards for having powerful estates, and I kind of wish, like Vic 3, if
yeah,
you're over 20% clout on an IG,
that's nice. Yeah,
it's nice because you get double bonus. And I'd kind of like to see something like that for EU5. I don't know
yeah.
if I'd be okay with doubling some of the bonuses though.
Well, with EU5, they're treating estates more like with EU4, where you're not trying to work with them, you're kind of working against them to some
Yeah,
extent. You like in EU4, you don't really want them to have influence at all. Like you'd rather they have like zero, but you want to give them estate privileges because they give you bonuses. But like you're gunning to get them out of here is the point.
yeah.
And in Vic 3, you are working with your IGs. You want some to be powerful. You want some to be
I
weak.
mean, in Vic 3, there's no crown estate.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly, exactly. Yeah,
there's no split. Like the
yeah.
IGs are just what it is.
Yeah, in EU5, like I find that I want to get my estates pretty much as weak as possible, like
Yeah,
except that some of them have some of the bonuses are okay. Like when you have more influence on nobles, they give you more aristocratic push, and like I kind of want that sometimes. Just
I
sometimes I
think
want that.
is the discipline on nobles from their satisfaction level, or is it from nobles your own
Influencer,
religion?
I don't know. I know they give discipline. I don't remember if it's from influence or from satisfaction or from what, but it's something.
It's either
Yeah,
satisfaction or them being
yeah,
proportional to your religion. I think it's or
yeah,
no, actually, I think it's proportional to your religion and off of aristocracy, and this is where
yeah,
everyone gets 10% discipline. I think it's
yeah,
both.
yeah. I think so. But the point is that for the most part, you don't really want to be empowering your estates.
Yeah,
Because especially when you get above 25%, they're going to start reducing their max tax, and that's really painful.
yeah,
Like max tax is so like when it comes to keeping an early game economy going, it's like tax efficiency and it's max tax. Those are like the things you need to be gunning for, and and by extension, estate equilibrium satisfaction because that gives you the ability to use your max
yeah.
tax. So it's like you're wanting to keep them powerful enough that they are like happy with you, but not so powerful they're costing you taxes, but not so weak that they hate you and won't pay taxes without causing rebellions. Like it's an interesting balancing act that I actually like quite a bit. But there are a couple of a couple of advancements, maybe not a couple, maybe one or two actually, that give you like a little bit of a state equilibrium for their
It's
satisfaction,
really
and those are
valuable in
like
the
really good.
peasants.
Those are really good. Yeah, exactly.
Um,
Yeah, the peasants for sure.
the burgers. You probably have some thoughts on this. It seems way easier to get burger satisfaction than satisfaction on any
Yes.
other estate.
Yes, burgers are very easy to spam satisfaction, although you can go too far. I did go too far once to get them to like 50% influence, and it was crazy. But for the most part, they're very easy to. Well, that killed my game, to be clear. That was killer. But it's pretty easy to get them to be very, very happy. Whereas I find that commoners are surprisingly tough. Not
Yeah.
because there aren't privileges available, but the privileges that are there, you really don't want. Like some of them are okay, a lot of them are not
You
okay.
can
So,
the free subjects. So they generally give trend towards one of two things: free subjects or decentralization. The free subjects one, you're okay trending towards free subjects, so you give out all those. The decentralization ones are painful because centralization's real good.
Centralization is crown power, and crown power is everything. That's just how it is. Now, to be fair to decentralization, that gives you loyalty equilibrium, which can be okay, but it's completely beaten out by crown power in like pretty much every scenario.
It's like 2.5% or 5% satisfaction equilibrium on all your states versus 50% crown power and 10% proximity cost reduction. Where
the 50% crown power is crazy. If you can get to 100 centralization, that's a lot, because with estates they have a lot more additive modifiers, which dilutes the importance of each one. On the crown there are very few modifiers, so that 50% is gigantic. It's also why you got to make sure your king is an admiral on one ship for the entire game.
And
it's 25%.
I think if you keep the ship in port, they're less likely to just randomly spike an event and die.
I don't know the likelihood on the random events, but I always have... and the thing is, you don't have to be the ruler, by the way. Put a second son or something, because it can be any crown estate member. So put your second son that you don't care about, and that's the admiral of the whole navy, the one ship.
Muslims are better religion.
Super good.
You can have more marriages. You can get more marriages, so you can get more crown characters. Way easier.
Dude. Dude, the fact that republics can't do marriages is so awful. First of all, for roleplay, the Medicis are dead by 1400. That's awful. I hate that.
To be clear to
second
the
audience,
of all, because we're talking about characters that aren't even the rulers can't marry in a way that they can if you're on a monarchy. Yeah, go on.
So, and to be even more clear, I'm not talking about royal marriages, because that shouldn't... Republics can't royal marry. Okay, you can't marry a crown... Anybody, actually, not just a crown. Anyone in the Republic cannot marry, let's say, another person in the Republic. Like, you have nobles and they have daughters. Only at game start, by the way. Only at game start. They won't have any more within about 50 years. Okay? They have daughters, and you have, like, a son, maybe. You can't get them married. This is not a royal marriage. It's just, like, within the country, It means that with republics, after about... Depending on which one you play as, some of them have more characters, some of them others. There are a lot of de Medicis at the beginning of the game. By about 1400, there are 0. So you're going to start randomly generating characters that you'll play as for the Republic, and they have no family. So screw your crown power, you're done. Like, it's over.
To be fair, the trade-off is... Merchant Republic is just absolutely cracked. I hope they don't nerf it. Maybe they'll nerf it. It's just like... It's clearly the reward you get for playing Genoa, Venice, and apparently Florence. And it's so powerful.
I'll see if I can show you that after stream. I'll show you the save file, and maybe I'll try to replicate it, because I don't remember the circumstances under which it happened. I just was like, oh, let me just unslot Signoria.
If that's the case, then I have to take a closer look at Milan, I think. And Milan might be
like insane,
kicking around. Well, Milan's already like pretty good. They might be kicking around like top 10 Europeans. With that. Because they start out as a republic, but a particular kind of republic. But if you could just revoke and go merchant republic's just way better. Peasant republic's also really good, but I don't know.
Dude, they gotta add a way to go. They gotta add a way to become a monarchy or become a republic. Is there a way? And I just haven't found it. Or
you can become a monarchy if you just tank your like republican.
Right, like in EU4. Okay, hard. That's so painful, dude. So in EU4, tanking legitimacy or tanking republican tradition is like kind of bad. In EU5, it's like really bad. Like, it's so bad because you lose crown power. It's always crown power. You lose crown power when you tank it.
You also spike disasters, which give you like
some
of them give like minus 25% estate satisfaction, and you're just like, now I can't tax anyone.
It's so bad.
Or you just tax them, and you're just like, I'm gonna suffer the revs.
EU5's propensity for death spirals is a bit much. I will say. I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
So the AI struggles, and that's fine, but even, like, the player... Like, with Florence, you can get the Ciompi disaster, which is the one where, like, you could become a peasant republic, or you can, like, solve it, right? That one is, like, pretty bad, but quite survivable. But let's say that you're in that disaster, and then you just kind of, like... You get stuck with, like, negative stability, and you cannot afford to increase stability. Like, you just put the slider up, and you're going to be, like, taking on more and more debt. The more debt you take on, the less crown power you have, which makes you can't tax. And you can't, like you are, it's so easy to spiral. And what do you do to cut expenses when you're that early in the game? Like, you destroy your only fort, I guess, which barely is an expense, like 2 ducats maybe. And you don't have a standing army, so you can't disband anything. You could not pay for your cost of court, but now your legitimacy's down, so you're going to lose taxes because you can't tax when the legitimacy's low. And like Like you have no way to cut your expenses.
Yeah.
That's a big problem I
Just
think
don't
that
have
EU5 players are
loans.
gonna have. Yeah, yeah. Just don't take loans. But sometimes, like, if you're in a bad disaster, you end up doing it, and you're already dead. You're done now.
Yeah.
Like EU4 had death spirals, but you could always just disband your whole army and navy, and now your income's probably gonna be pretty good. Like you'll be vulnerable. You might get war decked, but you can, in theory, get war decked. Just surrender and keep going. Like if you're assuming you don't get full annexed. But you need to take my point that there's ways out. There's always a way out. In EU5, sometimes there is actually no way out. Like you're just done.
The loans are incredibly punishing. I don't know. Yeah. I haven't experimented too much with bankruptcy. It bricks your research basically for 5 years, which is kind of rough.
It's really bad.
But I don't think it's worth it to intentionally do it. But I think that's just kind of like what you have to do it. The reason I like intentionally doing it seems bad because like if you inject all that money, you're not even gonna have the construction speed to like do it anyways. And then like a ton of the extra income is just gonna get killed by the lack of crown power that you have while you're trying to spin it up.
Yeah. It probably ends up being a bit worse than neutral, I'd guess, because like you can get all this money and make all these buildings, but then all the taxes you would have been making without taking all those loans are just gone.
Yeah.
Like I think that honestly they should make the loans maybe just not affect the crown power. It's just too harsh. It makes it so that taking even like a handful of loans just kills you so much.
I think it used to give like twice the malice it does now. So from a design perspective,
it's already too much.
From a design perspective, it definitely makes sense because you have these loans out to the estates, and the estates like gain power over.
It gives them leverage over you.
And it certainly makes a lot of sense. Like the crown power malice is just insanely punishing, and so maybe that
it's that the line at 25 like is where if you cross the line, you just suddenly spiral so much unless you can get back over the line. Like it's done.
And maybe it should be like a softer type of thing.
Yeah.
In terms of, or even like higher, but like work logarithmically or exponentially. Like
I was gonna say like a logarithmic thing where at 24 it's not so bad, but at like 20 it's pretty bad.
Started at 30 and then logarithmically, like as you approach, however 10 or something like this. I don't know.
Yeah.
Make
it work. Yeah.
Yeah, just as it stands now, you just like basically should never take loans. I think.
Yes. No. Well, back in it's funny because in EU4, like oftentimes taking loans was bad because of the inflation it caused, but it was like a lot of times it was worth it to take loans.
Bankrupt intentionally.
Yeah. Well, there were situations for that, but even outside of like intentional bankruptcy, you could like take a bunch of loans and use that money to win a war that then gets you a significant advantage on the map so that you make it worthwhile to have the loans.
And then
in EU5, like there's no situation I could think of where I'm like, oh yeah, dude, if I take 1,000 gold of loans, it's gonna be worth it. It's like, no, it's not worth it. It's not gonna be worth it.
I mean, like, I guess like mercs with like death wars where it's like defensive.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. If you're in a war where like it's annexation or it's take the loans, my response is I'm going to restart the game. But most of you, I guess, if you're Iron Manning, your response will be to take the loans. But
you wouldn't start an offensive war that requires this level of loans in order to execute it properly. I think is the thing. But if you're in a defensive war, taking loans to hire mercs,
then it makes sense. Yeah, because it's death or loans. Like in EU4, it was common to take loans to begin a war, use the loans to win the war, then use the conquest, the money from the conquest, like all this new land you took, that's going to pay for the loans now, was the idea. In EU5, it's like, nah, especially because if it's in the early game especially, getting a lot of control to make that land even valuable is very difficult.
Yeah.
So... Because the roads, you got to take out loans for the roads now, bro. That's going to be the problem, is that you're not done taking out loans, buddy, because you need the roads.
You need the roads. Can't live without it. Roads give crown power.
Yeah,
effectively.
They do. Yeah. But the fact they give control, that's how they get the crown powers, because the control gives you crown power.
It decreases the crown power malice in locations, which is just like it's a pooled together. But it's interesting that if you take a bunch of locations with almost no pop, they don't really negatively affect you at all.
Yeah.
It's specifically taking high pop locations. Taking Constantinople's a little bit trappy. Pretty sure it's bad for most nations because it's got so many pops, like normally, but it's just like you want to take it.
You gotta do it though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta take it.
It's like
to be fair, if you take it and then you put a cabinet guy on increasing control there. I mean, it can actually be. It's probably not too bad. Like especially depending on how far you are. If you have like no proximity, the control cabinet guy can maybe get you like half, like 50% control, like maybe. But if you have like reasonable naval presence, you can get up to like 80% control in there. So yeah, it's actually a pretty good contribution to your country. But keep in mind, you're gonna have a cabinet guy wrapped up for like most of the game. Well, not most of the game, but until you unlock new ways to get more control, because you do not want to lose control on Constantinople when you have it, because it's so important.
Population dense. Have you gotten an earthquake event yet in your Ottoman run?
I haven't. I have not. Are they really bad?
You should open the disaster map mode and look at. There's like 2 locations that are safe spaces, and don't keep your army anywhere that's not on one of those. Because it'll just kill half your soldiers.
Jeez. Sounds fun.
If you spike an earthquake, yeah. And there's like one, like, in the Balkans, there's like one island of a location that like you can't spawn an earthquake on, so... Although I think if you hit an earthquake, it might just kill neighboring location pops anyways. I don't really know how that works.
Right.
Or soldiers. Mm-hmm. But I remember, like, actually more than one run, like, just like sitting an army in Constantinople and then losing half my army. When an earthquake hit, and it's like...
painful.
Don't like this at all. You had a list of topics you wanted to cover. I don't know if you've gotten through those topics or...
Yeah, I've more or less exhausted it, yeah. I mean, I guess, like, I'm looking at, like... I talked about, like, death spirals. I talked about, like, proximity and the importance. I talked about... I guess, what do you think? Do you think that, like... How do you feel about, like, accepting culture and stuff? So, to give it where the note comes from, in Imperator, big power spikes are when you accept... You either have to choose. Do you conquer a big swath of land, like, let's say, hundreds of pops of a foreign culture. You can only recruit levies in that game from pops of an accepted culture. So you accept the culture, and then that gives you a huge power spike, or you assimilate them. And the classic example is as Rome, when you conquer the Etruscans, do you assimilate the Etruscans to Romans, which takes years, but gives you, like, you don't have to spend any resources on, like, integrating them? Or do you accept the culture? I find that in EU5, you don't have a lot of, like, culture acceptance cap, whatever that stuff is called. Like, when I was playing Ottomans, I wanted to accept the Greeks, but it cost, like, 5.
That's specifically
it's
like
so much.
The worst example, or like the most difficult example.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay.
You can get a Greek subject and force them to improve relations with your culture repeatedly, and make it so that costs significantly less. And that's how I would approach it. Is I would have a Greek subject, have them be the only Greek on the map because they have to be the most powerful culture, and then every 50 years improve that over and over and over, and then eventually accept the Greeks.
I did that as Castile. I did that with Catalans when I was doing Castile and I was out to Aragon.
But it's
I kept
way
on
cheaper,
doing that with Catalans too. Yeah.
Once you get there.
Makes sense.
But with Greeks specifically are going to be really, really expensive, but like around Constantinople, it's like it's all Greek to me. So like
it is.
I think that you long-term want to accept Greeks. It will free them all as slaves, though. You have to take slaves from other places.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah,
no slaves.
Also, as you convert them, they become non-slave as well. But you're not converting them if you have Abrahamic religion or Abrahamic communities.
Well, I took that shit off. That's such a bad thing. I took it off.
It's unplayable right now. I think that in theory, the Ottomans should be in a spot where you want to keep that on, like from a design perspective.
Well, the nice thing is that the Dhimmi estate pays pretty good taxes, and it's not easy to keep them loyal. So I do like having the Dhimmi.
The Dhimmi, who was I looking around at? There's one country I've seen that has max tax for Dhimmi.
Ooh.
You want to guess what it is?
Well, I'm trying. I can't. I don't know. Like, could it be Timurids?
I haven't checked Timurids. I don't think it's Timurid. I don't think Timurids have one. I've only seen one.
Who is it?
But they're in Africa.
Africa. Mali.
Nope. I actually am struggling to remember the name. Huh?
Songhai? Is it that one? I don't know if that's even a tag.
Songhai's got a bunch of good bonuses, though. They have proximity cost, they have max tax, and everyone who's in sub-Saharan Africa also just has proximity cost. Every Muslim in sub-Saharan Africa.
That's so good.
Proximity cost, yeah. Like, Mali's actually, like... low-key, like, really good. Like, top 20 country, or top 15 country, probably. But it's I forget the name of it, the one that, Kilwa. Killua has
Oh
Demi
yeah, yeah,
max
yeah.
tax.
The
Which
East Africa
I have
one.
no idea why they have Demi max tax, but they get.
Yeah.
But that might be, since the Demi almost always have like 0 power, you never get the max tax malice on them. And
Yes.
Killua is like right next to a whole bunch of gold, and gold you keep
Mm-hmm.
rural, so it's going to be
Yep.
like all peasant or Demi. And I think with that 10% max tax, you might even be able to tax more on the Demi than you can on the peasants.
Yo, damn.
So
Yeah.
the
I mean, you're
Demi,
good.
the Demi also like a really weird one is this Delhi. Your pops are like 95% at game start, something like this. Non-Muslim, and so your like burger estate and your peasant estate make like 0 money. And
Damn,
so
small
like
Demi.
I think I actually like just 0 tax the peasants specifically just for their bonus, and then it's like all Demi, and that one's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
as
you
well.
know, you mentioned that I always zero tax the clergy as a Muslim because I want the research bonus. I don't know how good it is, but I think research. I think it's good.
It's good early
So
on.
I zero
It
tax.
falls off really
Yeah.
hard because you're getting so many percentage bonuses
Right.
from the embracing institutions
Right. Yeah.
that eventually I think it's
Good to
no
know.
good.
Good to know. Yeah, because when I in the early game, I was like, Ottomans, like, bro, the Ulema are paying me like maybe a ducat
Yeah.
and a half. Like, fuck it, just put
What
that
you
shit to
could do
zero.
with the Ottomans
Worth it.
though is I think if the clergy are of a different religion, they go in the Demi.
Convert everyone to Orthodox with your cabinet or something. Is that?
Well, I was gonna say there's you specifically can put in the estate privilege where they won't convert clergy specifically.
Yeah.
So you could put that in and then min tax them, and then all the places you're conquering, you're not adding more tax like contribution to the clergy because they're all staying Demi.
Interesting. Yeah.
You get a malice to tolerance of the true faith, I think, for having a smaller proportion.
Right. Yeah.
Not your primary
main faith clergy. Yeah.
And I think you also get a pretty big satisfaction malice to clergy, but I think just not taxing them is probably worth more. And then you could also take the estate privilege, like lowered taxes or minimum taxes for plus 10% satisfaction or whatever. That's probably what you're supposed to do as Muslim.
Yeah. Yeah, Muslims are OP in EU5. Looking at the
Yeah,
text
that's
and
what
stuff,
I've been
that's
saying.
ridiculous, yeah.
They are just like absolutely cracked. Like the
Dude, I loved speaking of Muslim advancements, I loved the Ramadan advancement because Ramadan's like fasting,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, bro, you do know that during Ramadan, like, way more food is eaten during that month than like other months because of how like
gotta leave a
festive
feedback
Ramadan is,
post.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably maybe I should be like, hey, listen, I'm telling you this, I gain weight during Ramadan, okay? Like it's because you eat because like it's like it becomes it's like a festive thing, right? So
Yeah.
you eat more food every
It's like
night. It's like a
Christmas
big
holiday or
meal
whatever.
and yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So every night is like Christmas holiday, like you're eating like big proper meals at night, right? And I'm like they should be consuming more food, but I mean I get what they're going for. It's like they're fasting, so they eat less. I guess you could say that it's that the society values like temperance more, so they eat less food in general to like maybe, but it's more just I just thought it was funny. I was reading it. I was like, oh yeah, Ramadan. Now they're eating less. It's like, nah, bro.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
That's interesting. You could leave a feedback post.
I think I think the gameplay wise, it's like whatever. It's just minus food
Yeah,
consumption.
I mean, like, it could be the case that the type of society that does fasting just generally also, eats more in moderation, like, year round.
Yeah. On average, it's like that kind of That's what I was thinking was like the other end of it. It's like, oh, it's like a temperate society, like they're used to eating less. But it's funny because a lot of people during Ramadan put on the pounds because of the way you eat during that era. Yeah.
Like, as a resident guy who eats a lot,
yeah.
like the what is it, the fasting diets always to me are just like so like funny because I could eat like 6,000 calories in one meal, so it's like the notion that you're fasting like 18 hours a day is just like a total non-factor, like in terms of calories you could consume.
Yeah.
But you know what's also really good is the religion for Japan also seems pretty good.
Oh, the Shinto?
Yeah.
I haven't played Japan yet, so I don't know. Yo, Korea can convert to Shinto right at the start of the game, by the way. I was playing Korea, and you can just swap to Shinto.
That's probably
funny.
Or, well, like, what makes Japan, or they were feeling really good when I was playing them is because they get, like, all of their what is it? Holy sites are in Japan.
Mm. Yeah, of
And
course.
if you own them, they give you like a bunch of them give you like plus legitimacy. They give you so much plus legitimacy that you could just zero cost of court.
Oh, that's really good. That's
Yeah.
insane.
So like,
Dude, you know in EU4 the meta of like playing the Shogun and making the daimyos conquer the world, like you get to do that in EU5 because to be clear, like having lowered cost of court basically makes playing wide better. Like the more you lower the cost of court, the better the playing wide is, like more or less, because you're not taking on extra expenses by conquering more. So it's like just it's
I
good.
think that the the with Japan, what was going on though is I was like, I had 600 income and then I had like 50 on my expenses.
That's so
And
funny.
it was like all
I love
building
that.
cost because I was just like,
Yep.
I was using a cabinet guy for stab, and I was like paying zero. It was literally just only building maintenance, and I was just like, because I didn't have enough. I didn't have enough subjects that It's also interesting there. If buy orders stimulated the markets, stuff like that would be way worse. Or sorry, if sliders
Right.
gave buy orders.
Yeah, sliders, yeah.
Because then like being able to escape like having to pay money would deflate your economy. And so like it would make a lot of these like edge weird strategies, or like the fact that Japan doesn't have to pay for the most expensive thing, like a lot more like it would be easier to balance these types of things.
Yeah, for sure. No, I think that if they're willing to someday, like I think that right now it's way too late in development to go and like rebalance everything
Yeah.
around getting rid of magic money. It's like it's done. It's a done deal now. It's what it is. But in the future, if they ever wanted to, I mean, it would probably be wise. But right now, I'm looking forward to. I want to try a run where I just like try spiraling up through burger taxes and tax efficiency. See if I can just make it so every armory I make profits me by the extra demand it makes for weapons.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. In
I think
theory,
it should be quite possible. It should be very possible. I want to try
Yeah.
and just be like, yeah, dude, check it out. Like every time I increase
No,
my
that's
army size,
a-
I'm only gaining money.
That's
It's, like,
a
it's so good.
That's a very like that's the type of math thing where like I need to do a spreadsheet for it. Like, what's the break
Yeah.
point? There's like
Yeah.
I'm gonna do a video on it, but we discussed it a little bit. But like your building costs are effectively more expensive when there are more people in your market.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like
Funny.
it's just like not intuitive at all, and like very neat.
Yeah. So much of EU5 is like not intuitive, but the parts that need to be intuitive feel like pretty intuitive. It's just some parts not at all, but like some of it is good, and others of it is like, wow, okay, like if you don't know what you're doing, and proximity is the biggest one I can think of, where if you don't realize what that is, like you're shooting, you're never gonna be any good at the game until you realize it.
However good you think roads are, they're better.
They're better. Keep saying it. Never
It's
stop
just
saying
like,
it.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna.
Yeah. Yeah. Like even crown power. So yours is roads. Mine's crown power. People don't know.
Roads give
People don't
crown
realize
power.
how important. Yeah, but crown
Have a lot
power
of
is
it.
like really important. Like crown power is extremely
Yeah.
important. Like it needs to be. You need to get that
It's-
as
it's-
well.
it's important to
Not as
25.
high as you can. Because you want to give estate privileges out. You don't want to have like 50% crown power just sitting there. I like to sit around 35. That's where I like to be.
Yeah,
Like,
I think I'm probably a
that's a
little
nice number,
bit more
but-
liberal with the privileges than you are, but like you,
Mm.
you get as much max tax as you can,
Yes.
and then you have to get enough satisfaction to support that max tax.
Yeah.
And if that means
Yeah.
losing crown power, that's worth.
Yeah. But when I say 35, that's where I like to be. But the reality of the early game is
30
you don't have counting houses. You don't have like a lot of money for a lot of roads. I usually end up around like 27 or 28. Like just keeping above 25 is my minimum. But like 35 is where I want to be by the time I have buildings that can help with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're generally getting like a good amount of crown power with like all the stuff that you're doing that other people
Yeah.
are not doing. I remember,
Yeah.
I remember suggesting like, or I've already told you this, but like for like the audience, like talking about cabinet members, and it's like talking about what's the strategy on that, and most people I think just put in the most qualified person because you get more cabinet
Yeah.
efficiency. But like the thing is you have 100% cabinet efficiency base. You get like another like amount from your leader, and I think the amount of efficiency they add is like equal to half their attribute or something like this. So
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
You're talking about having like plus 150%, so you have 250% total, and then you're talking about like the difference between adding 25% on top of that or adding 40% on top of that, and like relatively speaking, you'd rather have the crown power than that like marginal difference.
Because the crown power also gives you cabinet efficiency. It
also
gives
you cabinet efficiency.
So it's like it's just such a good modifier that you're like, well, oh, it's less cabinet efficiency. Well, it's only a little bit less because you're also getting and not to mention if you have competent family, like let's say you forego
Muslim,
a 90 skill guy for an 80 skill guy who's your family. Well, of course you take that because the difference in their skill will be made up for by the cabinet efficiency of having more crown power, probably. Like, you know, especially after you make them a head of cabinet, because head of cabinet gives another 25%. Like it doubles the total that you get from the cabinet.
Bonus to the clout, yeah. You get 25%. Split among your entire cabinet. You get in terms of power contributed to the estate they belong to, which if it's the crown, and then head of cabinet doubles it.
Head of cabinet 25.
50% total crown power you can get.
Which is as much as having max centralization. That's how strong that is. And then you do one regular regiment with your king in charge, one ship with your son in charge, and that's another 50%. Another 50%. It's insane. It's cinema.
It's so good.
It is.
Especially if you're on a trade nation.
I get excited stacking it. Trade, of course, with because trade is directly influenced by the crown power. Like and the crown power also, again, like I mentioned before, it reduces the influence of the other estates, meaning they won't lose max tax for being too influential. Like it's so good.
Yeah, I think that's I was excited to see you like catching on to that very quickly when like I felt like other people were not as enthusiastic about like giving estates to the crown or like giving cabinets to the crown rather. It's like so good.
I don't know why people aren't realizing it. Like for me, it was one of the first things I clued into.
More cabinet efficiency. If you don't, it's like exactly.
So I looked at the numbers and how much the efficiency was helping the task. I was like, it's like nice, but whatever. Like
people just want
meritocracy out the window, bro.
Or
but we're talking about like if we're doing integration, we're talking about like a couple months, maybe like. Maybe a couple months, and that's if you're going from like, oh, I have like the genius noble and like my dumbass son. But a lot of the times you'll have a son who's maybe only a little bit less qualified than the noble guy. Like we don't have to go from 90 to 0. We're going from like 90 to 60, let's say. You're losing like maybe 2 months of time on the integration. Like legit, it's not that big of a deal. And you're getting more cat efficiency from the crown power. I'm gonna keep saying it. You making up the difference with the crown power anyway. Like it doesn't. I don't know. I guess it's just that people they just see big number and they go for it. I mean, I get it. I'm kind of similar in some ways, but
I mean, I think like initially it's very easy to like. Also, when you have a ton of cabinet slots, each one that you do towards crown doesn't do that much in terms of crown power.
Yeah.
Like if you have 5,
like 5 slots,
and then each one's 5%. But it like
by the mid or late game, I tend to start slotting in by meritocracy a little bit more because I don't need the crown power as much. I have new modifiers, I have more things. But early game, it's like, bro, you're my family or you're dead to me.
Well, it's like it's also just like doing everything to avoid being under 25.
Exactly.
Versus not actually having to worry about being under 25.
I always grab the favor the ruler policy as well. I don't know if you do that, but during my first parliament, I got favor the ruler.
I think favor the wealthy is better once your burghers are making more than the peasants.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think I just tunnel vision on the crown power, but yes, I haven't really done a time to evaluate it. But I always go for favor the ruler because I'm like, oh yeah, more. I think it gives centralization too. I forget. Maybe it does.
Well, I think favor the wealthy gives plutocratic trend, which
that's pretty good. Yeah.
Going plutocracy now is probably better than aristocracy, because while nobles consume more than burghers,
there's fewer of them.
Burghers will for each plutocratic trend, you will get 10 times as many nobles as you do. So the overall consumption profile is better on plutocracy and. It's way better parliaments when they're
the parliament's nice.
Because you can click through a lot of buttons, and so being able to have a lot more 100 or 150 support parliaments a lot more consistently is really nice because you're like all your laws are set up, so it's like
Yeah.
I pass the debate, I get a CB, and I increase taxes every parliament, and it's like
Yeah.
it's great.
It's nice. Yeah.
And it's hard to quantify how it's hard to quantify how good that is, like being able to hit a breakpoint higher more consistently. There's probably some way to do it, but
well, I mean, like the thing about raising taxes I've found is that unless you have the extra satisfaction to be able to make use of the extra taxes, not much use. So it depends entirely on like how your current government is set up, right? Like I always check, I look at my taxes, what's satisfaction on my burgers. Usually the one I look at is the burgers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I have like 60%. I'm like, well, then I'm gonna click the raise taxes because I want that. But if it's like 51%, I'm like, well, I'd rather just.
That's another reason why I like
debate.
Favor the Wealthy. It's way easier to hit enough satisfaction on the burgers than it is on the commoners.
Yeah, I'll try that then. Next time I'll give it a shot.
I guess for the audience, is it Favor the State? What is it called?
Ruler.
Favor the Ruler. It gives you 5% max tax on all your states. Whereas Favor the Wealthy is only giving you 10% on your burgers. And then Favor the Ruler gives you also centralization trend, and then you get plutocratic trend from Favor the Wealthy. I think centralization trend is better earlier on when you push centralization for the first time, because you have a cabinet action on it. I also think that that's a cabinet action where having the most qualified person actually becomes a lot more important.
I often, when I'm planning to do that, I swap out because I'm like, okay, I need like a 99 Diplo guy in here or 100, whatever, if I can find it, because it is that valuable to have just a couple more points of of value.
But then the 5% satisfaction malice that's on Favor the Ruler is
painful.
Make it so that you can actually tax the peasants less than even considering the 5% max tax. And then the centralization trend, I think, is 0.05 instead of 0.1, and I think the plutocratic trend is 0.1. And it's really hard to push from aristocracy to plutocracy generally. And so Favor the Wealthy is usually needed to get the trend moving in the other direction. So,
I'll give it next time I play. I'll go Favor the Wealthy instead. I'll see how it goes, because I've been doing it off of just like I haven't tried the other ones. I just did the Favor the Ruler because I was just chasing crown
power. I think
power.
It's better earlier on. I think that transitioning after, especially if you're going plutocracy, I think if you're planning on staying aristocracy, then it's maybe not so good. But like if you're planning on pushing plutocracy specifically.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the meta is something which I'm sure will evolve like a lot by the time we get a patch. That will be for release.
I'm guessing so, I'm under expanding relative to like what's meta. Probably a little bit. I don't think it's a lot. I don't think like just rampaging, but like I'm probably under expanding a little bit. Just because I think
me too. I think I tend to focus on the buildings and stuff, and then I expand for like RP basically, or for RGOs. So when I see a good RGO, I go for it.
Right now there's like an exploit, which I don't know if it's going to make release. Actually, I don't even know if it's on the latest version. You can feed your subjects and avoid like all the pressure to your Diplo capacity.
Oh, bro, that's so funny because, dude, in EU4 there was an exploit that I found and made a video about where it was like one of my really early videos where you could feed land to the subject of a subject and it costs no AE. And it was and no Diplo, cost of Diplo points, cost no AE, and I don't know if it ever got patched because I wasn't playing EU4 much at the time. But I found it, and it got like it blew up. It got like 25k views, which at the time for me was like a huge video, right? And that is still, to be clear, that's still a good video for me. I'm not that big now, but I think I don't even know the name of it, but I can find it. But it's just like a old EU4 video. It's super outdated now.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Or is
if I search for maybe it's not fixed, but it had a very very few applications because there are very few ways to get subject of a subject in EU4. But one example was you could, as Bohemia, you have a couple subjects who are like they were like vassals or something. I forget. No, it was you play Austria, you get Bohemia as a personal union. They have a vassal, and you give the vassal stuff, and it doesn't cost anything. Here's the link to the video. I'll DM it to you.
Okay.
This one of my first look at the shitty thumbnail. Like one of my first blow up videos was this.
Perfect.
This is so good. Yeah. It was great. It was an era for sure.
1.3.1 or sorry 1.3.31.
Yeah, ancient patch. I don't actually know if it's an ancient patch. Maybe it's not. But it was 3 years ago I made that video. Damn.
Hot. Yeah,
I'm going. I'm on a nostalgia trip right now, imagining 3 years ago. Jeez.
yeah, it's super. There's a lot of things that are OP that I'm just like not abusing, and that's like one of them. You get to basically ignore the
Yeah.
diplo cap stuff as a pressure, but I want it to be
Mm-hmm.
pressured, and it's like I
Mm-hmm.
want that to be a resource. And the diplo slider's expensive, man.
It really, yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
like
It's a lot of money.
if you need it to expand with via subjects, like it's not like automatic that you expand all via subjects anymore. I think that
Mm-hmm.
in particular they seem to really care a whole lot for that calculation, like and loyalty based on like pop, because they're doing like a power projection comparison, and they count levies. So just having a lot more pops really affect things. Even if they have like no army, if they have huge levies, it's like it's really going to be harder to keep everything, like a tight lid on everything. I struggled so much as Delhi, trying to not need to use the diplo slider, and eventually it was just like it was very binary, which I didn't like. Which is like either I could keep everyone loyal, or I just pay 0 on the slider.
Yeah.
And like paying 0 on the slider wasn't very punishing. So
Yeah, I don't know. I've often paid 0 on the slider and just let. What I do is the only thing about it I don't like is the antagonism received. So whenever I go to war, I slide it back up before the peace deal, and
yeah,
then
no,
end
that
war.
I think is
And
I
that's the
think
only
that's
thing. But
that needs to be an equilibrium, because
yeah,
I hate that micro. Before peace deals, you're just supposed to
Yep.
max out your slider and have a cabinet member
yeah,
doing the
improve
diplo
relations
thing.
cabinet guy.
And
Yeah,
like,
I hate doing it, but I do it because I'm trying to be good at the game.
yeah,
But
no,
yeah,
I
that's
don't
what
like
you
it
do.
either. I think I might just like I'm doing it a little bit right now, but I think I might just stop.
Yeah.
Just because, like, it's obviously not supposed to be, like, the intention. I mean, like, what it should be is whatever that modifier is, it should be an equilibrium.
Yes, yeah. That's how you fix a lot of these things.
Yeah.
Even stuff like like stuff like, well, I was thinking of example, but like with army
Control?
maintenance, like, but
Okay.
oh yeah, with control, yeah, that would make sense too. But with I was thinking army maintenance, but I realized that the armies do take time to get their morale up. Like they need to sit and wait for the morale to go back up with army maintenance.
Also, you need to be full. This is something that I think I can't remember who it is that doesn't like it. I think it might be OPB, but like that you can't drill one army and not the others because you have to be on max
Yeah.
maintenance to drill.
Yeah. Well, whenever I drill the whole army anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
I just I drill everyone because I want to get quality and I want to get land.
The
Because so basically, when you drill, you get army tradition. Well, you get experience, and that gives you army
Yeah.
tradition. And army tradition gives you land drift in your values,
Yeah.
and land is really good. So I'm always drilling constant, and it gives you quality as well. And quality is debatably between quantity and quality, which one's better. But 50 quality gives you access to a government reform that gives you discipline and capital economy, which is like super good. So
I have to
take
check
that, yeah.
if there's like an analog in quantity. I'd rather have 20% frontage than 10% discipline.
Yeah.
If there's not an analog, I think 10% discipline might be better than 10% frontage. The discipline tends to come in 5%, and it affects offense and
does.
defense. Whereas frontage tends to come in 10%, but it's really rare as a modifier.
Yeah.
Hungary has 10% frontage. Hungary actually has really, really good miltex. They might be the second best in terms of miltex. Not including special unique units. The best, of course, being Ottomans.
Hell yeah.
Like England in the final age gets like a +10 initiative heavy infantry unit.
Damn.
It's like-
I gotta play to the final age. The latest I've played is like about 1700. Like I want to say like 1680s or something like that is the latest I've played. That was my Holland into Great Britain game. That was fun.
I played till like the early 1700s, so I haven't hit the final age, but I played like just shy of it. But at this point, like I've played like all the top 30 nations like 100 years in, or 100 to 300 years in. So definitely approaching.
What's your favorite?
That angle. I really like Mali. I really like Mali conceptually in the context of multiplayer because it seems like they're hard to interfere with. They have Valeria as a defensive thing, and the Sahara, and the cars are loud, and they have really good resources, and they're the best colonizing nation probably. I guess they don't
Well,
get.
they can't get
They
alcohol
don't.
though.
They get
So.
bonuses. You can build the alcohol. You just can't
No, I know.
trade
You
it.
remember
Yeah.
the thing, exploring is
Yeah.
haram? Lemon Cake did a video
Exploring is
about it. Yeah,
haram. Yeah. My
yeah,
feedback post and
yeah,
then Lemon made a video like
yeah. So good.
exploring is haram. The
Yeah,
explanation. Well, I can't say what the explanation was, but the explanation
yeah,
made sense.
yeah.
But you can build it in your market. You just can't build it. You can't export it to other markets, which is frustrating mechanically. Um, even though it's maybe not a good simulation, I think they should just take that off as like a thing, just because it's like frustrating more than immersive. Um, if it's like if you have a colonial market you're trying to explore out of, you just like can't do it. But Mali has great resources. They have some pretty strong bonuses, even though it doesn't look like it, because they get all the sub-Saharan tech, which like it doesn't appear in the content like spoiler thing at the start of the video. So like they get extra tolerance, they get extra manpower, they get proximity cost, they like it's a whole bunch of stuff. If you select one of them and you just like look in the tech tree, you can see it. They all get it, all the sub-Saharan guys, sub-Saharan Sunni guys. So I don't know if Ethiopia gets that stuff, but like and there's no one near you. There's like being in the context of multiplayer, playing next to other people is like just bad. Like
Yeah, yeah.
You'll
be competing for trade. You'll be competing for land and
yeah, and
fighting
then
each
like
other.
fighting a PvP war is so expensive and like hard on you.
Yeah,
You're gonna get a ton of like you're gonna get a ton of prosperity is gonna get nuked. You're going to need to pay more for forts if you're afraid of
it's
this.
like in Vic 3, you shouldn't fight great powers. It's like you should always just fight everyone that's super weak. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's same idea.
It like in Vic 3 multiplayer, like, and we've commented a lot like on this channel, like in regards to that, like Prussia just fighting Austria and then fighting like France. Often like Prussia's like a paper tiger because they just get absolutely kneecapped by those two wars, even if they win both of them. And it's like it's not substantive. So like Mali just seems very safe. You can get your techs. Like you're within range where you won't need to idle technology, and like they seem just solid. Not best or anywhere close to best, but like punching above their weight. Do you have a favorite nation or nation you think specifically would be good in multiplayer? I know you've only played like 3 or 4 nations, so it's not like
well. I've had the most fun so far with Holland, but only because I played the longest and had the most creative ideas with it. I think in terms of what I like to play for the most interesting, I like to play Florence. Like I really find it interesting to start in Florence and try to like, because you want to form like Tuscany quickly. But in a recent Florence, the game that I went for, I was able to like just get enough like not momentum. Like I had the right alliances and the right opportunities that I conquered like Genoa and Venice, and by like 1400. And I was like, yo, it's so cool. And I got coalitioned, but I was able to just like, one thing you do with the coalition is you don't necessarily try to win, but you just fight hard enough for long enough that you can get like, maybe you only give up like a couple locations or whatever and you can get out of the war. Like I was doing that kind of thing. I had the Pope as an ally and we fought a coalition, and it's like, I find playing in Italy to be very fun. Like it's a lot of RGOs, good markets, like you have I got invaded by Tunis a couple times, which is really fucking funny. It's like, what is Tunis doing here? The Emperor doesn't defend you on the current patch, so that was a little weird. But
that's like that seems like a absolute mainstay of EU4, and the Emperor has never defended anyone in any of the patches we've gotten.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm okay. I assumed the Emperor would defend me because HRE because of EU4. But if it's not the case, then okay. In that case, Italy is very vulnerable to Tunis, okay? Because Tunis, in my current Ottomans game, Serbia has invaded Italy, okay? Like, Italy is full of a bunch of tiny, fractured, militarily weak, economically powerful nations, and an AI that doesn't like to hire mercs. So you just have like, and also it's early game, so there's not really many mercs anyway. So you have like all these nations just getting into Italy, right? And that to me, I mean, the Emperor probably should defend, because otherwise, like, you're playing Tunis, just go for like Florence, bro. Like it's easy. Take Siena and Pisa.
The Ghibellines and Guelfs, or Guelfs, however it's pronounced.
Guelfs.
Like, yikes, I'm off.
It's okay.
To some extent they like to defend each other when that situation's live, right?
Yeah,
not really.
Not that I've seen. No, I don't. So I was a Guelph, which is the one where you support the Pope, and nobody came to help me against Tunis. Okay, Tunis just landed on my coast and fucking killed me.
I thought
I mean, maybe there is. The thing is,
alliance.
it could be that there's some kind of button I didn't click that I needed to click. I'm not gonna blame it on the situation. It could be that I was skill issuing because I didn't look. I see Gelfin Gibelline. I never look at it again. I don't know what it is. I don't care about it. I don't. I ignore it. So I get the one event that says who do you favor, and I pick the Pope because I'm like screw the Empire, and I pick the Pope, and then I don't look at it ever again.
It matters whether or not they get punted out of the Empire, and then it also determines you can get CBs on the opposition is the biggest thing. And so Italy's pretty nice because you can get CBs. Like, in terms of your parliaments just popping off super hard, they have a bunch of people with really powerful burghers, and then they don't need the CBs, so you just get to do everything so fast as Italy.
Yes.
In regards to your
parliament. And it's especially like, so when you're playing Florence, right? There's Siena to your south, and each of these nations are like really rich. So when you conquer them, you get to take all their money, which is like a nice stimulus for you.
Yeah.
And also, like, it's right next to it's a very small region, so you can actually have control. So when you conquer a place, you don't feel like, oh, I'm just like conquering for no reason. You're like, you conquer Bologna, it's a city. Cities are nice to have. You conquer Bologna, and it's like a city with 75% to 80% control without a cabinet guy on it. After you build the road, of course. Of course.
A big part of that is you get proximity cost reduction for dev, and all of Italy has really high dev.
Super high dev. Yeah. So when you're playing in Italy, you're power spiking a lot because you conquer a new nation. You've like doubled your tax base, and and it's like with control. Like you don't have just like this controlless barren land that you don't even care about. When I'm playing the Ottomans, like so much land that I'm conquering. I conquered Bulgaria in my Ottoman playthrough like just recently, and I'm like, why did I do that? Like it's all mountains.
Yeah.
So like it's so good. The road helps, but it's not gonna fix it.
Yeah. You're trying to say Bulgaria is the worthless land, right?
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
And I'm just like, why did I do this? You know, like I can't do anything with it.
One of the places you can get proximity to better out of all the Balkans as well.
Oh really? Okay. Well, see, I've conquered like up to Macedonia and Bulgaria. So I haven't gone into Greece yet, like Greece proper. I haven't gone into Serbia. So it gets good to know it gets even worse. I'm glad to know it gets even worse. Thank you. I don't want to conquer the Balkans.
Gold and silver though, so it's probably worth, but like
Kosovo, my beloved.
Yeah, my sweet prince. Albania.
Yeah, the EU4 Kosovo gold mine.
Yep. There's a lot of like gold and silver in there. You said, are you gonna, if you play Florence, are you gonna taste the forbidden fruit of making your own market?
I mean, so what I tend to do instead is I just take the market from Genoa in most of my games, and then move the market capital to Florence instead of making my own market. Yeah, that's what I like, or that area, not necessarily the actual city, but I move it close because that way the market access is better. So I
don't partake of the forbidden fruit.
Yeah, because the food problems are one thing, but also like every time I think about making a new market, I run into a similar problem I run into in Victoria 3 when you try to break from someone's market, and that's like I'm gonna have to sit there. I have to figure out all the new supply and demand equilibriums and like redo all this economy, and I'm like, bro, like, nah. I'd rather just take over the market center and move it to a better place for me.
That's probably overall like a better solution. It's still gonna be like, it's still annoying because the way Italy is all the food's in the north, so you kind of like the east-west split. But and what I imagine happens have you done that already? Does Venice just get all the food if you move Genoa down?
Yes, so when you move the market down, suddenly you lose control of most of the north, but by the time I do it, usually I've built up some of the wheat RGOs that are in like Pisa, because there's a river wheat, which is really valuable. Yeah, and it's right in Pisa. So you don't have it on Game Starters Florence, but you can get it. And by the time I move the market, usually I've like got 11 wheat RGO with like 15 or so irrigations, and it's like, okay, that thing alone probably can feed most of the market. And also I do sheep and all, like I go sheep.
Yeah,
and
so you ruralize
by the time
Pisa?
Well, not Pisa the city. There's a location next to it. I don't remember what it's called, but there's a location next to it that has wheat.
I just know the sound it makes when it bleats.
Yeah. No, it works out okay. It's I really don't like reorganizing markets and like making new markets and stuff. I did it with Den Haag because when I did Holland, I made a market in Antwerp because I needed. It was
Yeah,
too,
but that's a
they're
small
too
shift.
famous.
That's not gonna.
It is a small shift, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's not gonna
When I
completely.
when you split from Bruges as Holland, you're taking like 80% of the market with you, to be honest. Because if you've made Netherlands,
Oh, you're
right,
talking.
then
Yeah,
you
you did.
have
Yeah, yeah, you
yeah,
did.
yeah, like you if you've conquered Brabant and you've conquered most of the Netherlands and you've conquered Westphalia as Holland, then like when you make a new market, you're taking 80% of the market with you, so you're
Yeah.
not missing very much. If you make a new market as Florence, you're exiting the Genoa market, which is a massive market, and you're making a very small one in a place with no food, and it's like you're done.
It's the
You're dead.
apocalypse. Like, in general, I
Yeah,
think stealing a market's going to be better. Like, as
yeah.
Brandenburg, I
Mhm.
took the market from Lubeck and brought it to
Yeah, I don't
Berlin.
know.
Um,
Oh, I stole the Cologne market as Holland as well. The Cologne, like
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah. I
that
remember
that one
that.
is very nice to steal. That one feels really good.
The
Yeah.
did you end up moving it south, or did you just keep it?
No, I stole. So I conquered Cologne and then just left it in Cologne, and that was
Okay.
fine. And I had the market in Cologne and the market in Antwerp, and that gave me a lot of market access to all of my major cities. I was
Yeah.
like, that's perfect. Like
The
everywhere that I want, that market access has it now.
you have some like geographic like issues when you start getting like inland a little bit on the lowlands because it gets very like hilly and mountainous, and then
Right.
you don't push control very well through there.
Yeah.
Or market
I guess
access
technically
rather.
the I suppose because of market access and how it works, the meta is to have as many markets as you can. It just that then it's more of a pain to manage.
Well,
It's just
also
like it just sucks to
migration.
manage all of it.
You can't
Yeah.
migrate
Okay.
between
Yeah.
markets.
Yeah.
And as your roads get better, your market access gets better. It's this
Mm-hmm.
weird thing where if dismantling markets was cheaper,
Mm-hmm.
like I think you would spam out markets and then contract down to smaller amounts of
Yeah. Later
markets.
on.
As
Again, that
yeah,
gameplay flow of like localized markets, and then later in the game they become more
yeah.
global markets.
I,
It's so
I,
cool
w-
that it simulates
I wish
that.
it were
Yeah.
so much cheaper to disband markets because then I
Yeah.
would be like doing a lot more of those types of moves, and
Yeah.
I think that like I think it's more interesting than just being like, well, I forget how much it is. It's like 25 stab, and it's like, well, I don't want to pay 25 stab later, so I'm just
Look,
like
big
gonna
payment. Yeah.
like not do this thing here. But then, yeah,
Yeah.
like it would be a lot cooler if you could do that,
Yeah.
or you can, but it's too expensive. It's
Yeah, it's that the thing is it may actually be worth it, but like it's hard
yeah.
to figure out if it is, so you just don't because you don't want to take the risk,
I
or you
might
can
just
make a save and then waste your
I
time.
might just
But
be whining
I
over the
mean,
stab, and it's just like you're
yeah.
supposed to do this thing.
Yeah, it's that
Like
stab is very valuable, and you're reluctant to give it up. So when
yeah,
you see an option to give it up, and you don't have like if it told you if you do this, it will be advantageous, and it explained, maybe it would, but otherwise it just says destroy the market, and you have to
yeah,
know that that's going to be better for you, but you may not know that, especially if you're kind of more like me
yeah.
and don't know the game that well. I
It's
I usually take over markets. I find it to be just much more risk free compared to destroying or creating them.
yeah. The it's
Yeah.
it maybe is in theory like you're supposed to create a Florence market, and then when you hit modern roads, you're supposed to get rid of it. Italy would have way better market access if transporting market access overseas was any good as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and you'd have like way less of an issue. Currently, like Florence is like kind of a market access dead zone. Like, what do you start out with? Like 75 market access or
It's
something?
about 70%. Yeah, you
Yeah,
just have to live with it. It is what it is. Or you attack Genoa
yeah,
immediately, like as quickly. You snake up to Genoa. I got very lucky that so Lucca is a very important land connection to Genoa, but it's a vassal of Verona, who is obviously very strong. But
yep,
I got lucky in that Verona is kind of far away. So I blitzed down Lucca, and Verona would destroy me if they were able to fight me. But I was able to get a peace deal where I took Lucca from Verona before they kind of I was able to get enough war score to like make it happen before they come down and destroy me. And the AI likes to send its army in fractions, so they sent down a couple like 6,000 stacks instead of like a full 25k or something. So I killed a couple of smaller stacks, and that got me enough war score to just barely grab Lucca, and then hopefully never fight Verona ever again because they're really strong, and you cannot beat them as
do
Florence.
they
You have to just kind of
body Venice in your run?
Every time,
The
yeah,
Venice
every time
Bros
they body.
are so
Yeah,
mauling on the forum right
yeah,
now. They're like,
yeah.
no, not Verona.
Yeah, Verona is really strong, and it's killer for Venice. Although in my Ottoman game, Ferrara conquered Venice of all things. I don't know why, but maybe they're allied to Verona.
They
But
probably just got the
like,
occupation.
yeah, probably Verona's a real menace, definitely. Also, Venice has a good navy, but they have that problem where they're too willing to let you cross into like Venice, the city, without any problem. Like I remember I raised so I learned the hard way. When you raise naval levies, fishing boats don't really do any fighting. So
No, they're just transports.
I raised like 30 fishing boats. I didn't check what you typed the word. I just thought, oh, these are like navy levies, and I put all of them instantly die to Venice. But Venice pulled out of the Bay of Venice to go down into the Adriatic to fight me, and guess who just walked right into Venice while they were doing that? The fishing boats did their job. That's all I'm saying.
They were a distraction.
They were, and it worked extremely well. Whereas in EU4, the AI, at least in its very modern version, an older version, didn't do this. They like to leave like a couple ships always on that strait, like pretty much always. So it's
Well,
very
like,
hard to break in.
it's like if there's no navy in port, it's free to leave just one ship and just move your navy down, right? In EU4, at least.
Yeah.
In EU5, I think there's 2 locations that go in, right?
Okay.
One on... I'm not 100% sure, but I think there's one on the Italian coast and one on the Balkans coast. So you can't just...
Maybe.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is I walked
one
in
ship.
while my fishing boats were getting slaughtered, and that was really funny. I was laughing when I was doing that because they left the strait open to go and kill my fishing boats, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that works."
how we drew it up.
Yeah.
Take Venice, yoink. That's mine
Yeah,
now.
and then I took the Venice. I had control of Genoa's market and Venice's market. I left Venice how it was. I moved Genoa to Florence or somewhere. I don't remember what city it was,
Venice's
but around
market
there. And
feels
then
kind of bad, just in general.
I didn't really look at it. I left that one on auto trade and just I was like, I don't want to
No,
manage
yeah,
2 markets.
That's
Enough.
That's fine. It's just
Yeah.
I guess they have a couple like silver piles. It's like it's not the worst, but like it just feels like because you have to go like over the strait for like the market access. I think that's like not very good on the
Terrible.
market
Yeah.
access, or you have to go like navally because you're on like the island.
Same problem as Constantinople is that there's a strait, but I mean the strait doesn't give you proximity. Well, I haven't checked the number. Maybe it does, but it doesn't give you
checked it
seem
for
to be
market
very good
access
proximity.
specifically how
Yeah.
the strait works, but
Yeah.
or I haven't checked in a while. I've checked that before. Like I had to have checked that when I was playing Venice, but I can't remember how it works.
Yeah.
Any we're coming up on 3 hours.
3 hours,
soon.
eh? Yeah.
So any closing thoughts, specifically focusing on economics and or relating it to Vic 3?
I mean, related to Vic 3, I feel like this game for Vic 3 players is actually going to be like really fun. I think Vic 3 players are going to love like it's going to be the dopamine hit you've been looking for that Vic 3 sometimes kind of leaves you wanting. Like Vic 3 is this very slow burn, like you see the consequences of your whole game kind of over the course of a long many hours. In EU5 is pretty explosive. Like things happen and you're like, "Whoa, I'm getting all this power," and I think it'll be very good for the Vic 3 audience, genuinely.
Maybe you shouldn't make the road upgrades more granular, or the
I think that would. So more granular upgrades would be better for the balance, but I think it'd make it kind of like a less fun game. Like unironically, it makes it less fun when you don't have the explosive spikes.
I still would like the like more granular, specifically with the military. I think it's going to be super warping for MP. But like military PMs are warping for MP and Vic 3 as well. Like it's just the power spikes there are huge as well.
I'd say actually even worse in Vic 3 because you don't have things like discipline in Vic 3. You have like at most a company that gives you 5% offense maybe, and then the PMs for like the extra.
I don't know. Double is
stuff.
Still like every time you get the PM first, you just have double the power you can bring to bear on each frontage.
For sure.
Like, twice is like a lot. I guess
EU5 is very much evoking that EU4 sense of like if you have a tech advantage, like you're gonna be very advantaged in EU5. Tech advantage even more so than EU4, like significantly more so.
Or at least once you're in like the 3rd or 4th age plus. In the first, probably 4th age plus more so, because levies are actually insanely strong in the first like 2-3 ages, and so it's not as acute because like. Okay, you have handgunners, but like they still lose to a levy unit. But like eventually, it's like, no, this is
definitely
like,
I noticed that spike probably like I was like when I was playing Holland, I was just like stack wiping French like units was it the fourth or fifth era? It's
I
just
think
like
it
you
was
just
fourth
ridiculous.
that you were in. You were because you were past early Arquebus.
Yeah, Arquebusier. I don't know. Yeah,
Arquebusier. Yeah.
yeah.
I always get that like I pronounce it Arquebus.
It's a tough word.
Arquebus.
Yeah.
Vowels and stuff.
Yeah, I was just like I had like a big stack of regulars, and it was just like I was just wiping French armies, and it's like okay, because they're a tech behind. Yeah, that's why. But in the early game, yes, like quantity is so important in the early game. It's just, if you have more levies, then you just win.
If the AI like actually abused the player, I think that players would be like more uppity about wanting to make it more granular.
Yes.
If the AI is like, okay, I have a tech advantage here, time to declare war, and then you just get rolled up by the AI because they have twice as much power. It's like, every age you get the same double thing, so it's not like the power spike happens 6 times. The only thing that it's less acute as you get later because your army composition gets more balanced between like cannons and infantry, whereas earlier on you're probably like almost entirely infantry or entirely cav.
Yeah. Dude, what's the point of cav? I'm not gonna lie. Every time I look at cav, I'm like, why would I build this?
They do a lot more damage.
I guess
it's
but there's half of them.
There's
half as many.
Yeah, there's half.
That's
of them,
the problem. There's half as many.
They do twice as much damage.
So isn't that just about the same as a footman then? If it's half damage, or if double damage for half the people?
If you win on a flank, they do considerable extra damage for flanking.
Flanking, okay.
And
like in EU4.
Earlier on, one flank tends to break more often, like in the earlier phases of the game than in the later phases of the game. And if you have one flank break, like cavalry just roll up the rest of the battle's over if one flank breaks basically. If, like you're cav heavy, like basically instantly. But the infantry get a defensive bonus for being next to other infantry. So as time goes on, like that's better. And then starting in age 4, infantry actually start to gain power. So like I think infantry go up to 2 power in age 4. At which point, like you're like, okay, why am I playing with cavalry? Other than the cavalry also have a lot more combat speed, so they're better reserve units too.
Okay.
So they get from reserve to flank a lot more efficiently. Yeah. So if you are limited on the number of reserve units, I guess like maybe they make some more sense as like a support unit, but eventually it becomes cannons and infantry is like the name of the game.
Just like EU4. It's so funny. I mentioned in my impressions video, EU5 has this DNA of EU4, and you feel it if you've played a lot of EU4. Yeah. It's like it's so real. Like the game becomes familiar so fast. There are just a couple of new systems added on, like the new economy stuff, the new control stuff, like whatever. These things are like tacked on, and it's like you got to learn that. But everything else is so like evocative of EU4. It's like the same feel.
There are so many people on. Like I've seen in forums and Reddit who are like whining that the game's gonna be like Vic 3, and it's like just like it's very clearly like EU5.
Yeah,
like
it's very much. It's like
the sequel to
EU4. It has the truly it has the genes of EU4, but it's just got some extra little accoutrements of like Victoria 3. It's that's all it is, and the accoutrements are very impactful. It's not like they're meaningless or they're it's like, oh, it's just a throwaway thing. It's very impactful, but the game is Europa Universalis at its heart for sure. Like we didn't even talk about tag switching, but if I remember correctly, when you tag switch, I know we're supposed to wrap up the podcast. But one last thing, when you tag switch,
we can keep going. It's just if we run out of steam, we should stop. I don't.
When you tag switch, you keep the advancements from the previous tag, right?
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
Yeah. That is insane. Because in EU4 you didn't, so it meant the tag switching was like less. It was still fun to do because you kept the mission trees. That's one thing. You kept the mission rewards. But now I mentioned like the theoretical run where you play Flanders. They have an advancement that has bonuses to fine cloth. Then you form Italy, which that's a weird playthrough. But you go form Italy, you get another bonus to your fine cloth. And then I said I haven't looked at it, but I bet out there's a tier 4 tag that's gonna have a fine cloth bonus, maybe like Germany or something. There you go. Then you go form India, which obviously like this is an insane run, and you wouldn't do it because it's not worth fine cloth output to do all of this stuff.
You know what?
But like
proximity
it's
cost,
there.
Maybe.
Yeah. If there was a proximity cost one, you would definitely be willing to do that.
You start out sub-Saharan Africa, right?
Yeah.
Or probably.
I think it's.
I don't know.
I think it's really fun.
But they get 25% procs reduction, so.
I think it's like super fun to have like the tags. I know that you expressed some misgivings about like how gamey it is to have all the tag switching.
So here's
I think it's super fun.
So first of all, this is probably more a me issue than like anything else, because if I don't like the thing, I can just not do it, and I shouldn't yuck someone else's yum to some extent. But what I don't like is feeling like I'm playing incorrect because I'm not doing this super gamey thing.
Yeah. And I'm so okay with that. This is the CK3 player in me. I'm totally okay playing less than optimal all the time.
I hate it, and this is one of the reasons why Vic 3, like, this is actually a reason why I, like, started making less videos and just generally kind of, like, got burnt out on the game or this type of thing, is because there's so many things that I know I should theoretically be doing that I just don't want to be doing. And so, like, it's, like, because there's so many really strong exploits in Vic 3. They're just really good. And there's, like... And so, like, the prospect of, like, oh, well, you know, like, the one person, like, you're playing wrong because you didn't swap to this nation and then back to another nation is, like, you're right, but, like, I just don't want to do that.
Yeah. Well, in the case of EU5, there's a lot more barrier to entry for that, because, for example, in this fine cloth theoretical... conquering, like forming Italy as Flanders to get to stack fine cloth like throughput is probably like pretty whatever. But if there is a proximity cost path where it's like, there's some tag that has prox cost in its advancements that you want to form, like in theory every single game you should be forming that tag, and it's like
and then you reduce the proximity to 0 and you're like, boom, Europe to
Asia,
it's
control and everything.
all 0. And it's like it's another thing.
No, I feel you. I understand that complaint.
It's also like a content meta thing, right? Because the like absurd things are a lot more clickbaity, but like I don't like playing that way. And if it's like, oh, I get twice as many views when I do some like obscene like formation chain as I do some other thing, I'm just like gonna be annoyed. And probably not do the formation
I like to
thing.
keep it reasonable, right? So like when I did, I was amazed to see in my Holland run, when I conquered England, there was an event referencing the Glorious Revolution, which was when England and Netherlands had a PU in real life, basically, where like a king from Netherlands came in and said, "I'll be," he like there was like a I forget the context, but for whatever reason, William of Orange became King of England. And they had an event about it. When you conquer England, you get an event talking about it. And I was like, oh, that's super cool. Yeah, there's like historical context for tag switching Netherlands into Great Britain. There is some context for it. But if I were to tag switch... if I were to tag switch Netherlands into, like, I don't know, like fucking India, it's like... I used to do, in EU4, you can do England to Mughals if you're willing to, be a little funny about it. Because you naturally, as England, you get mission trees that take you to India. But once you get to India, you can, you can culture swap, and you can religion swap pretty easily. You can form Mughals, and it's like there even could be just a little bit of like maybe historical. Maybe you could argue it historically, like the Mughal, the Indians became more important in England than the English did, or some shit like that. But like. You don't have to do the ridiculous stuff. You can do the
person's take on this.
I think that they would have a lot to say about it. Maybe
I think they might. The resentment or ressentiment of being colonized is.
Yeah, but the point is that you can not do the ridiculous stuff if you really don't want to, and there's a lot of things but the ability to do it. It means there's stuff you can do that isn't so ridiculous, like Holland into Netherlands into Great Britain.
Yeah,
that's really cool to me.
It's not about like what I can do or can't do as much as like dealing with my own irritation at like the fact that there's something that's theoretically just like, because like you're trying to like min-max the game and like explore the systems and like get the most out of the systems, and then there's like this thing that's just like dangling in your face, and you're like, well, I'm not touching it. It's like, wow.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Honestly, like I understand the issue. Yeah, it is, because I was gonna say I don't have that problem, but I understand. I can empathize with it, but I just like in CK3, like I'm so used to like everything I do is suboptimal, because optimal path is so mind-numbingly boring that I gave up on it ages ago. So I'm used to having this thing waving in front of me for like every single game I play. I don't even care anymore.
Maybe CK3 is maybe you just have to go further. Like, because CK3 is, like, just uber absurd if you, like, do full exploits. Because I know you can, like, World Conquest without unpausing or whatever.
You can World Conquest without unpausing. You can one culture without unpausing if you're willing to do it. It's just that, like, was that fun? Like, what are we doing?
And so it reduces any thought of like super optimizing to an absurdity because whatever it's just optimal to world conquest before I'm pausing, and so like it ends the conversation. But like with here, it's like always well, you're playing as Molly now, but like shouldn't she be forming the Ottoman Empire right now? Like
forming like, Rum. I think Rum is a formable. I looked at the game files looking for all the formables.
Yeah,
and
Rum is a formable. I think.
Well, not. Listen to me. Listen. I'm speaking Turkish, bro. It's Rum. Like
sorry.
The tag in Anatolia. Not Rome.
One of the many fake Romes. Got it.
Exactly. One of the many
just
fake
like
Romes.
Byzantium.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can. Oh, dude, I was thinking Byzantium is a formable. And I think you can do Ottomans into Byzantium. But the thing is, remember I asked in the Discord.
That's actually funny.
I asked Discord. So I asked the Discord what tier are the Ottomans. Because I asked what tier the Ottomans are, and the thing is, one guy who I won't say because I have under NDA mentioned that if you check the government screen, it shows your rank. And the thing is, country rank is not tag tier.
No, it's not.
So Ottomans are rank 2, but like they're obviously not a tier 2 tag. I don't think. I need to go and check. I couldn't find a list anywhere in the game file showing all the tags and what their ranks are. So I'm like, okay, I need to find a way to test what rank Ottomans are to know if you can do Ottomans into Byzantium. But I suspect the Ottomans are a tier 4 tag.
You know what I do is I just at Father Loris, and then he's helpful, and I'm sure he would be equally annoyed if you would add him as well.
Okay, maybe.
He is when I add him, because he seems to understand where everything is. I don't know if it's it might be a software thing, but he knows where
because I couldn't find it.
Folders.
I couldn't find. So I have Notepad++, and I did a search through the entire game's files. So it took a long time looking for any mention of TUR, which is Ottoman's tag for Turkey, right? And there were many hits, and I looked through them. I looked through every single hit, and none of them were like Turkey and then like a tag with a tier or anything like that. It was all just like events and that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay. And I looked for like any folder or any file that would have like a list of all the tags and their tiers. Couldn't find it, which means probably like the tags are somewhat hard coded, which is interesting. That or I just skill issued and didn't see it when I looked for it.
Seem to
the formables are listed. The formables are listed in the game files, and I did find them, but not the like starting tags. Those weren't listed. So that was annoying.
You can form England.
You can, yes. You can form England. They're tier 3.
England's
or tier 2. Sorry,
yeah.
Sorry, they're tier 2, and Britain's tier 3. My bad.
Yeah, I think
which is fun.
The reason for that is so that Wales could form England or something like this.
Yeah.
And so Wales is a formable, and then or Wales is tier 1 and then tier 2. Like, it seems very necessity driven rather than like evaluation driven. Like, so like if there's a country that just doesn't come out of anything else, it's a tier 1 country. And then like it doesn't seem designed to prevent exploits where like all the really good tags are tier 3 plus or something like this, and so there's no shenanigans up till tier 3.
I'd have to look around to see what advancements the tier 1s and tier 2s have, because I find that so far like most of the tags with a lot of stuff is like tier 3 tags, and I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. You don't want to have a lot of crap on the tier 1 tags.
If that's the case, then I take it all back.
Well, I mean, I've only had a very brief look. I haven't like, I don't know. It's hard to say.
England
like,
is
sure.
Tier 2, right? And England,
and they got a lot of stuff. Yeah.
England might actually have the second best bonuses after the Ottomans, just like in the aggregate.
Yeah.
In terms of text,
like England particularly is good. But for example, like Tuscany is a tier 1 formable. There's like barely anything for Tuscany. Like it's a couple little advancements. And
I think Tuscany gets a lot of stuff from Florence though. So if you don't have the Florence stuff already.
Oh, so wait, does that mean does Florence's stuff, is that also in Tuscany's tag?
Some of it. If you look at it, some of those texts are included in Tuscany's tag. I don't know if all of them are included and it's just not properly represented in the UI. If that's the case, Great Britain is effectively like England plus, right? But most, if you look at Britain's texts, most of them are actually English texts as well. The ones that they are purportedly adding. So what it means is like if you form Great Britain as like Wales, you now get all the English stuff. Or like that's what it's supposed to mean, but what it really means is if you form Great Britain as Ottomans, you get all the Great Britain stuff. And
I'm pretty sure Ottomans are tier 4 though, because when I did do a save and then I culture swapped. I culture swapped to Greek and checked my formable list. There's no formables in there, and there should be, according to the game files, be Byzantium. But Byzantium also existed at the time, so maybe because they were existing, they weren't popping up. I don't know.
I think you can't form a country when.
No, I know. So the question is if it'll show up in the list. So, like, for example, England existed when I was playing Holland, and they were in the list, but one of the requirements to form England is England can't exist, which is very reasonable. So I wanted to see if they were in the list, because the stuff in the list is stuff that's higher tier than you. Nothing, it won't appear if you're a higher tier.
Yeah.
So if you're already tier 3, you won't see Italy or England in your list at all. Like, they won't pop up. So it's like, okay, I was checking to see if it was a list, and there was nothing in the list. There wasn't even Rum, which is a tier 4 formable. Yeah. So I think Ottomans are tier 4, which means you can't do. You can't do any shenanigans with that.
I don't think you can form laterally. So, Ottomans can't form Rum. Right?
Oh, okay, maybe.
Or can they?
I think. I gotta check the files. I don't remember.
I think that
maybe you're right.
I think that the idea is that they can't, so they must be the same as Rum. But that means you just do Great Britain into Ottomans, or everyone into Ottomans forever and ever.
Yeah. Well, I didn't check if Ottomans were formable. That'd be so good if you could do something into Ottomans. The thing about forming Ottomans is that, remember, the name of the Ottomans comes from the dynasty. So, like, it doesn't make sense to call the country Ottomans if you're not being ruled by the Osman lineage. It's so weird, but whatever.
It's so weird, he says, as he's talking about England into Ottomans.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's like, I don't know. It's a nitpick, but it's like, so this happens in Vic 3. If you abdicate your throne, and, like, you get a random monarch as the Ottomans, he's not going to be the Osman family.
Yeah.
So why the hell is the country called the Ottomans now? It's not. That's named after the family that rules it.
Do they still?
Doesn't make sense.
I feel like there was a new thing in, like, a recent patch that makes it easier for it to flip Turkey in terms of the name. I don't know if that's part of it.
It flips Turkey if it's a republic. It flips Turkey. So if you if you get the collapse event, you flip to a republic immediately, and that gives you. If you fail the great collapse journal entry in Victory, if you fail it, you flip to republic. It's like it renames you to Turkey. I think it flips you republic. Maybe it doesn't. I'd have to test it, but. It at least renames you to Turkey, definitely. Yeah.
Maybe that's the solution.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, whatever. It's such a small problem that it doesn't matter at all. Like, it's totally unimportant.
It's one of those things where, like, some, like, really absurd things I don't care about if they're just, like, beyond the pale absurd, like Turtle Island and Vic 3.
Yeah, who cares? Yeah.
For the people who are not familiar with Vic 3, you basically just get to annex everyone for free, except for, like, 2 nations. And then, like, at that point, like, I don't care that that's in the game, because it's not... The meta is always to form Turtle Island.
Didn't they keep on patching it and unpatching it and stuff? There's some controversy about
it. It was just, like, it was present for, like, forever, and then recently they took it out, which I was kind of not a fan of.
Sad.
Because I thought that was, like, one of those cases where, like, look, if players want to do this, they can... But, like,
you'd never do it by accident, too. It was like you had to go through so many very extremely particular steps to achieve it. So it wasn't like it was something you could accidentally step into. It was like, you had to be looking to do it if you wanted to pull it off.
What is it? You have to conquer a very specific land, release players, natives, and then, like... Yeah.
Like, the release play as is already going to cut off 98.5% of all players. No one fucking releases and play as except for exploiting, it feels like. Or to play, like,
no one does it when they're already, like, playing as well.
Yeah.
Like, they
you do it right at the game start, maybe.
Yeah. Actually, that's not true. My most recent Bulgaria run, I release played as the Ottomans.
I remember that. I was there.
But, like...
That was funny.
I think that's the only time I've ever done that.
But you were, like, memeing. You weren't even... you weren't really playing,
No,
you were memeing.
That was, like, 100% meme. Because, that was a lot of fun. I had so much fun in the... on those streams with, Austria and the Bulgaria, I think.
The Poles still remember. They'll never forget what you did.
Poles will never forget.
Yeah.
Never forget.
Anyway, I'm out of stuff on my list of topics, by the way. Like, this is pretty much everything I want to talk about.
I'm out of stuff too.
I don't know if there's anything
else. Maybe I don't think that there's anything, like, in particular I wanted. I mean, there's so many things I could talk about, like, regarding economics, but, like, without getting into the weeds, like, actually, like, needing to unpack like crazy things. I think that I'm out as well.
Yeah.
The I guess resource balance
I'm
isn't gonna
excited
be
for.
anything, but
I'm very excited for what this turns into for the release patch. Like whatever. I don't know if we're getting it. I think we're getting it in like maybe I don't know if we're
we're
even allowed to say.
not
Never mind.
supposed to say when.
Yeah, never mind, never mind.
Yeah,
But whenever it comes, I'm excited for it because then like stuff that we learn will actually be like
locked
applicable.
in.
Because
Yeah,
yeah, exactly right. Because right now, like I'm thinking I'm developing all these metas, and it's like who knows what's gonna. I mentioned in my impressions video, like bro, everything I say could be completely invalidated. Because right now I'm talking about how important crown power is, and like maybe that'll be completely changed.
and stuff
Who
could be
knows?
changed as a result of this as
Yeah.
well.
True,
Like,
dude. I'll tell you after the stream, but I got a ping in the if you want you maybe you can find I got a ping in the EU5 Discord server
okay.
from a very special someone about my video, and I'm like, oh shit, now I feel like I'm in trouble.
Uh oh. Uh oh.
Yeah, no, don't worry, I can't reveal anymore without potentially breaking NDA.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
on that note, is there anything you want to plug before we go?
I mean, I check out if you want to hear my more refined thoughts, like with a script and everything. Then check out that impressions video where it's like everything I've
Unlike
said
these
here.
vulgar thoughts here.
I'm more well. What I mean is that this is like very casual, but
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that script, like it's very focused. Like I have a point and I say the
Yeah.
point. And if you want like a more focused version of my thoughts on EU5 so far, then check out that video on my channel. It's
Yeah.
just called
Which,
EU5 impression.
that should be
I
in the
forget the name. Look, it's
description.
there. Okay, yeah. Put it in the pinned comment, Generalist, or else
Yeah.
I'll kill you or something. I don't know. I'll threaten you to do what I want.
Well, no.
But like that's like if you want like more refined thoughts and all that. Other than that, I mean, I do mostly Vic 3 and CK3 content. Like EU4, I did a couple of EU4 videos like here and there, but I didn't. I don't know. I didn't like making the content for that game as much as the other ones. So,
Yeah.
but I'll do EU5 stuff because EU5 appeals to me a whole lot more than EU4 does.
Yeah.
Because of the Vic 3, the accoutrements as I've been calling them.
It's much less arcadey, which is part of why I stayed away from EU4. Also, EU4 was, it felt like if you, yeah, it felt like you would just have to get a ton of hours to like break in like as a creator and like actually figure out how the game's working if you're like not already there. So
Yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, definitely breaking into EU4 now is if you're like a new player, like just stop. Okay, it's too many DLCs, it's too many mechanics. It's not worth it.
anyways, but other than all that, have a good one, everyone. Bye bye now.
Bye bye. Bye bye.